numbers right there.
Hey, welcome to the ClevelandMoto Podcast number 467. We got a light group today, so we're going to go through the roster pretty damn quickly.
Well, let's talk about, so Dan's not here.
Correct.
Because we won't say what. People probably might know from what he's been talking about, but he's actually picking something up. That's why he's not here. So, should we wait? Yeah, we'll let him tell about it.
That'll be his little secret.
That'll be his big announcement. But yeah, that's why he's excused. Johnny Mac, though.
No excuse for Johnny Mac?
No excuse.
All right. To my immediate left.
We're Johnny Macless.
Macless, yeah.
Macless.
Steve Sleepy.
And to his left.
Pete Hemsley.
And to his left.
Mark Adams.
And behind the bar.
Tom Pennington.
And your humble narrator, Phil Waters. Here we are with ClevelandMoto Podcast. So it has been, there we go. That's it. I was going to say, good job. You lit it up. I was going to say, I'm not imbibing tonight. So I'm taking a day off. I experienced, I was overserved last night.
Oh, yeah.
I had a bad night. I had a very, very rough night. I got
overserved. You sound like you had nothing to do with it.
I think there's, and this is why I'm taking a day off, because I may have lost some time last night.
Okay.
So I'm not sure. I'm not sure if I got probed or what the fuck happened, but I did. I got a little out of control last night, so I need to take a day off. And what I needed was some good starchy food. Thanks, Becky, and her pasta is delicious, and a big fucking stein of water. I need to replenish. I need to replenish things. Yeah, because I know when I've been beat, and I'll admit it. I got beat last night. So, but.
What vehicle of intoxication was it?
I went to talk to a friend of mine at Porco who just recently lost his father. Ooh. And we decided that was going to be a good spot. And we went there and we kind of went through it. And I don't know, man, but I normally have like a pace. Mm-hmm. I don't know what the fuck happened. But here's my rule. If it's after 10 o'clock and I order a zombie, you take it away from me. Don't let me drink that.
Yeah.
I don't care if I paid for it. You can pour it out. But that is not a drink to have after 10 o'clock, especially not a fucking Porco zombie. Mm-mm. So, yeah, it was something. It was a weird experience. And, wow, it was tough.
The last time I did this was about several years ago, obviously. But the last time I did a bunch of zombies at Porco's was when I had to push my scooter 6 miles home, when I hit a curb somewhere and blew the transmission out of the back of it.
It was a bad night. That's all I have to say. Yep. It was a bad fucking night. So I had to remain in situ until I felt like I was safe. Like I'd overclocked it. So once I'd overclocked it, then I was like, oh, I can't drive like this. I can't operate like this. This is it. This is going to be a weird night, and I'm going to have to take an Uber home. And I don't even think I was at the point where I was like, I really don't feel like I could even get an Uber at this point. Wow. I felt very fucked up. And I just was like, oh, no, it all hit me all at once. And it was like, then I kind of went back and I did the count. I went back and did the count, and I was like, oh, yeah, no wonder. Dumbass. Right? And I was just like, yeah, I just oversold myself. That's all that happened.
Well, they're so damn smooth.
It was just I oversold myself. Yep. And that was it. And the problem was I'm drinking, but the buddy I'm with is sober. So he's making his enjoyment. Just, oh, yeah. So I was like, well, that looks fun. Okay, but he's drinking something with 0 ABV. And I'm not. And that's not fair. He was cheating. And it was a bad move for me. So I got a very expensive Uber home. Mm-hmm. Then this morning I had to make a very awkward trip back to Porco so I could go get my fucking bike. So bright and squirrely, I'm sitting over there trying to do the lock on the door. Like, get my fucking bike out of there. So I had to go rescue my bike this morning. That was fun. That was something. Yeah, so it was kind of it was expensive.
Well, congratulations that you are a responsible drunk.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah, there's a point.
Well, there's some maturity to that, because that would not have been what happened 10 years ago.
Oh, definitely not.
5 years ago.
Absolutely. Well, but this was one of those ones where I was like, when you're contemplating whether or not you're sober enough to get into an Uber, you damn sure better not get on a motorcycle.
Yeah.
Damn sure. I don't care how wide the lanes are. Do not do that. Yeah. And it was a rough Uber. It was a long trip. Because, man, when I leave Porco to go to my house, I can tell you exactly how many minutes it's going to take because I drive really fucking fast on that particular route. And this Uber driver was driving very fucking slow. And I was just like, are we fucking not here yet? Come on, man. And I was like, I don't think I sold it to you hard enough about how fucked up I am right now. And how every minute I'm in this car is 1 minute closer to you having to do some upholstery shit. And he was just like, oh, how bad can it really be? And I was like, oh, it's pretty fucking bad, man. It's pretty fucking bad. And you're not going to get any warning because when I pop, I pop. And I was like, I recommend picking the pace up just a little bit.
Did he? Was he a professional Uber? Like, did he have the sense? So, like, when you get in the car, were you overwhelmed?
I was overwhelmed with powerful odors. Yeah. And also, I had opened up both windows in the back of this thing. And it's one of those cars that wasn't ever designed to have the windows open. Yeah, it did that the whole way home.
Oh, that's terrible.
So I'm in the middle. I'm trying to find the spot in the back seat of this car where I can exist in like a silent space. But all I'm doing is just whoa.
Oh, that is the worst.
And it was fucking awful.
Because it pops your eardrums in and out. It's like
it was terrible.
Yeah. Oh.
I think he was just fucking with me. Oh. Yeah. So he's like, oh, you want to have the windows open, Mr. Tough Guy? Great. But whatever smell he was using in the vehicle, if those windows would have been up and we were just relying on, it was cold.
You would have added some.
It would have been
smells,
bad.
Yeah.
It would have been awful. Just straight up awful. So don't do that. So yeah, doesn't get away from me often. It got away from me last night in a very big way. So, yeah.
You're really making me miss drinking.
I know, right? Yeah. Here's the water. That's it. Yeah. Uh-huh.
This is a very sober podcast.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Is Tom drinking alcohol, right?
Drinking.
You're drinking alcohol.
Right. Tom, you're drinking for $5, buddy.
You're drinking.
God, do not go down.
Do not give him the Mr. Black.
We've already had
do
that.
Do not give him the Mr. Black.
We've already had that podcast.
Yeah, we have.
Hey, you don't have to drive, right? You're at your
Tom's
house.
off the rails.
That's true. I literally have to go up, 20 steps?
You got a DUI going upstairs. That's how fucked up he was. Oof. Yeah. So, okay, you guys had some big adventures. I want to get this out of the way first because last week we got the intro to Steve's new BMW.
Right.
But I am to understand that you have made adjustments to the BMW.
Yeah, so what you guys rode was exactly what I rode when I thought it was pretty cool. You know, I was like, it's pretty cool.
I didn't ride it far enough to make any strong determinations, but
right, but it had some properties to it that were kind of like, I was like, well, I'll have to work on that. So I did the thing that I usually don't do, and I read the manual. And because I figured that this has enough technology and actual, engineers behind it that they probably knew what they were doing.
Was it a book or a thumb drive?
It was a book.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, it was a book, and there was quite a bit of lots of information.
You can't take that for granted these days.
No, and well written too, I might add. The Germans can write and translate. But anyways, so I ended up adjusting the preload on the shocks, which when we rode it was at 100%.
Ouch.
Which is set up for all three bags, and pillion and you. So probably about 450 pounds. And right now I'm pushing.
And what type of an adjuster does this front end use?
I think the back just goes down. I think the back just doesn't.
No, but I mean the preloader for the front end.
I didn't fuck with the front.
You didn't fuck with the front end. Okay.
Because I don't think he did.
Okay.
I was just going through some of the things that I thought he might have messed with. Because the front felt good, but the back felt like it was pushing me over the bars.
Okay, yeah.
So that kind of made sense. And then I read it, and it was like start at 0 and go from there. Okay. Here it's at 100.
Well, there you go.
So I started at 0. Instantly, the bike settled down. Right. I actually had sag. I didn't feel like I was trying to eat the front end of the bike.
Okay.
The shifter, like how I think everybody kind of experienced that quick shifter thing. Right. It wasn't quite right. It was weird, right? Yeah. It was almost happening too early. Nobody adjusted it. Like they must have slapped it on, but it was really kind of loose. Not loose, but like the linkage wasn't set up right.
Okay, all right.
So I adjusted the linkage and made it so that the actual top part was a little like getting pushed more.
You're supposed to have a little bit
play,
of play,
but not sloppy, right? So I had, and you have the ability to pull it in, so it just needed to be a little bit shorter and just mess with it. And then actually the clutch too. The clutch was way too tight. It was almost engaging at the very first thing. So I don't know if it was the computer was even actually allowed to actually do what it was supposed to do. So I ended up giving it a little bit of play on that. And adjusted the tire pressure and did some things. But man, all that, whole different bike. We went for a 525-mile ride on Sunday, me and my buddy Mike. We kind of met. I did probably about 110 and then met him at whatever, and then we did the rest. And he has the new Tiger 660, which, obviously Dan loves it. And I was actually thinking about that bike. That was what I was going to try to do with my green one.
List, yeah.
But then the BMW happened.
Right.
But so we went out and, we weren't trying to kill ourselves because we were both trying to learn the bikes. But we went all the way out to the Alleghenies. We ran the 666 and then a bunch of fire roads up to there and back. And by the time we were coming back, I got real comfortable on that bike. And I can tell that it's going to be, I mean, like when you're up in the RPMs in that pro mode, you don't even use the brakes. You're just on it on the turn. And then when you get through it, when you need to brake, you're letting off and the engine brakes so hard and that unless you're really hitting like a hairpin, it's right there. I don't know. I enjoyed the shit out of it. And then, when you're tired and you're coming home with the flick of the switch, the handlebar, the windshield comes up perfectly, sends the wind over your head.
Right.
You slap the cruise control on and you're just like reading a book at 90 miles an hour with the handlebar. You don't even have to hold them if you don't want to. It's straight as an arrow at 85 miles an hour with not even blinking. And then, I've never had an electronic speed control. So then a hill comes up and you're like, oh, what's going to happen? Nothing. It just goes 80 miles an hour up the hill and goes back down.
The lane assist kicks in. It's keeping it in the middle of the road.
I don't know. I've experienced what the other half lives like, and it's not too bad. It's not too bad. So, but that's it. I'm really digging it. I think it's the perfect bike. It's the perfect bike for me right now because it doesn't go 160. It probably does 130, but I don't even care because where it's really good is between like 30 and 80. Like like that whole range of fun playtime in the hills and stuff. So, yeah, I'm just stoked.
Sounds like you fucking got yourself a winner.
Yeah. And then, so I had some videos kind of get exciting on YouTube. So I had some companies reach out. So I have some interesting stuff coming. All right. Some let's just say it might not look the same at some point soon.
Nice.
That's going, yeah.
That's good.
And then the one thing I couldn't stand, though, and was driving me crazy is that when you are in the lower RPMs, I didn't even know if the fucking motor was running. Like, it's so quiet that it was driving me nuts. So I saved my birthday allowance to myself besides the camera, and I bought an Akapovic system for it.
Oh, you did?
So it's gonna a little snappier, I think, at the end of the day. So, but yeah, that's it. So, I don't know.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with enhancing the auditory experience of a motorcycle. Mm-hmm. A lot of motorcycles I've owned were like, yeah, the bike's fucking amazing. It does everything great. It sounds like garbage, right? Then that's that Triumph, that new Triumph 1200 Scrambler I'm riding right now. At what cost? At what cost did Triumph decide that pipe had to be high? The pipe had to be high. It had to look like that. It had to look like a Bonneville Scrambler. But the price they paid for that, the fucker nonstop burns your leg. It is just there as a source of heat. And I know it's got 1,000 layers. I know that there's a catalytic converter built into there. And I know there's a heat shield on top of a heat shield, a NASA heat shield, a Soyuz heat shield. There's got to be every kind of known heat shielding material in that thing. Doesn't matter. Anything more than 30 minutes, you get your leg against that thing, which you're going to because it's a Scrambler, and you're like, fuck, right? It is not, that's pleasantly warm. I like that. No, after a 30-minute blap on the freeway, you put your left leg down, which puts your right, inner leg against it because your left leg is down. Ouch. Fuck that. Next time I'm going to put my right leg down. No, now it's burning the upper inner part of your thigh. That's way worse. And for all of that engineering to force that pipe to be where that pipe is, it sounds like dog shit. You'd think that for all the work that Triumph put into that damn thing, and I know this is their third version of high pipe for the 1200 Scrambler, it's never gotten good. It's never been like, it doesn't hurt me, and it sounds nice. The only time that motorcycle sounds nice is when you're doing this. Wah. And it does wah really good. But anytime you're not doing wah, it sounds like crap. Yeah. And it just sounds like, and they're not even like synchronous. It's like you can tell sound events are entering the pipe and then getting very confused.
Just slap it around.
And then they're just banging around off of each other. And whenever they escape, they fucking escape. But I was really, and I still am really sad about that. And it pisses me off because I don't want to be one of those guys that's like, so I bought a perfectly good brand new motorcycle that has all the technology and all the features and all the modes. And the first thing I did was took off an exhaust that if I crashed my bike and the insurance company had to buy me an exhaust would be $2,100 fucking dollars because I looked it up. And I'm going to take that perfectly brand new piece of equipment off my bike and replace it with what ultimately will be a hollow piece of tube with a bit of welding on it or 2 pieces of tube with a bit of welding on it, and the most minimal excuse of a can that they can possibly put on it. And for $1,600 fucking dollars of my own money, everybody on all the forums is like, yeah, this is what you got to do. You won't burn your leg anymore because the catalytic converter is... And it's the air goes by it. It's got a lot more room. It doesn't hit your leg as much because it's not 8 inches thick or 8 inches deep. And it's the best thing in the world. It changes everything. And then you do this tune and everything's perfect. It is the perfect solution for that bike. Isn't that what we have engineers for?
Right.
Doesn't Triumph pay people to do that?
Well, that's what, like with this bike, I guess, maybe if you're I'd let Mike, no, maybe he didn't write it. Who wrote it? Somebody wrote it, but I heard it go by, and you can kind of hear it when it goes by. But when you're on the bike, you can't hear shit. Like if you have like any kind of earplugs in, and you were leaving like the stoplight, I almost wheelied the one time because I was like, am I on the gas? Is it running? And I hit the thing. I was like, holy shit.
Oops.
So, yeah, that's going to be interesting. But the one funny part about Sunday, though, so we're out riding. We're having a blast. Like, we're both getting to know our bikes, and I'm trying all these different things and making adjustments. We brought tools, so I'm, like, moving them. You know, after you get, like, a couple hours on the bike, you got to start moving stuff around to kind of, make sure the bars fit and everything. So we're getting more and more comfortable. So we ran this one, so we did the 666, and it led to the service road thing. And so we did it, and then we decided to turn around and come back because it was so fun. Yeah. So the only way, once we enter this road, the only way to get back to the highway where we need to go is after this end of this road. So we do the entire road all the way down to like probably the last quarter mile. And now a car has hit a tree, and the tree has fallen across the road.
What?
But it's from the high side of the hill, so there's literally a 13-foot hole that we can drive through.
Tunnel?
Yeah, totally tunnel. It'd not even be dangerous. It would be so simple, right? But Captain Cop was there. And Captain Cop said, road's closed. Yeah. And we're like, dude, we just, like, seriously, like the highway that we need to get on is, like, right there. We can see it. Yeah, Mike's talking to him. He's up there saying all this stuff, and the guy's like, road closed. And he's like, really? What do we got to do today? You're going to have to go all the way back. So we run all the way back, man. We get to the top, and then the easy way would have been to go to left to grab the highway over there. That fucking road was closed. So then we had to go to the right, which goes all around the whole fucking thing. Yeah. So I told Amy I'd be home at, like, 4 o'clock. I got home at 9 in like a tornado. Whoa! So it was like, you know how Sunday the weather turned pretty shitty? I got caught in like, I drove into a wall cloud. Like it was just, I actually was on the phone with Amy in my helmet, and I'm talking to her, and she's like, what? And I'm like, can you watch the news? Is there like a wall cloud over Akron right now?
There's a lot of people one state to the left of us that don't have their town anymore.
Right. It was gnarly.
It's gonzo.
But like I was literally on the phone with her calling her like, am I driving into a tornado or is it just a storm? Because it looks like a fucking tornado. Yeah. And she's like, there's some tornadic activity, but I can't tell. But at one point I put the sport screen, because it has that sports screen where it shows you lean angles. Yeah. And just to go down 224, I was at a 14-degree lean angle from the wind. Like just going straight, like, like that. It was fucking crazy, man.
How much luggage do you have on it?
0 right now. So there is no extra. All I'm putting is a top box. No, I'm not even getting side bags, nothing. This is just so I can have some shit in the back and, and whatever.
Keep it skinny.
Yeah, but man, that was probably the worst weather I've ridden in a long time. Like that was pretty gnarly. But you know what? I slapped on raid mode because it's there.
Because it's there.
And everything felt great. The ABS kicked in higher. Like the throttle was way smoother.
Silky smooth.
Yeah. It was, I don't know. It was a fucking great day, man.
I pulled it up on the screen so people can see this is the fucking offender I'm talking about. I love the motorcycle. I really do. I've started to actually like this motorcycle because I got it on a trade I didn't want to make. The guy who bought this was like 70 something and nowhere near tall enough for it. If you're not 6'1", do not try to ride this motorcycle. And the guy was totally screwed, no miles on it, came in and said, nobody will buy this bike from me because it's too much money. Nobody's buying this bike, but I want 2 Vespas. And I went, step into my office. And man, it worked out great that my chocolate was in his peanut butter the entire time and his deal put down. And I was like, I got it, man. I got the Steve McQueen fucking giant scrambler. This is going to be great. This is a guilty pleasure bike. And I've spent the past year in a love, extreme hate relationship with this motorcycle. And I'm not learning it. It's torturing me. it's making me do bad things. It's making me yield my technique or my riding style or whatever to be it, right? But that fucking exhaust system on there, I don't care.
Kind of like the zombies did to you last night.
Yeah, you're exactly right. Yes, exactly. Yeah, show me on the motorcycle. That fucking thing, the seat's great, but that fucking pipe and I...
That's a gorgeous motorcycle.
It's a beautiful looking motorcycle. And that's the reason I like it. I like it because it's a gorgeous motorcycle.
It's classic. It's got great proportions, but it still looks modern. I mean, it is really just
And I'm never going to take it off-road. It's not even the kind of thing I would even try to take off-road. This is never going to see the dirt in its goddamn life. I ride it in the rain and stuff. I don't care about that. The fender is stupid. That is the dumbest rain fender that exists. All the water from that tire goes out 6 feet in front of you and you just drive right through it. This is the stupidest front fender ever. Just accept it. Quit lying to yourself with that bullshit fake motocross looking fender up there. I did figure out all the hardware can be moved down to the lower fender. So you can take that fakey fake fender up and lower it down because it is actual steel. It is a real metal fender. But you can take it down. It's a stainless steel fender. Bring it down and then it'll hug the wheel the way it's supposed to. And then you won't get fucking everybody else's shit off their cars in your face hole.
I'm surprised they don't make one of those rubbers for the front of that.
I could, but it'd have to be 1.5 feet long. Oh, right. If I wanted to do that cool old Penton style rubber flappy doodle on the front, I could do that, but it would have to be about that long.
Yeah, you're right.
And it's just not worth it. So I'm just going to take my fender and put it down above the tire where it's supposed to be. Oh, yeah. But you lose the aesthetic.
If you could take the fender off of Christmas Drifter and put on there,
that would be another one, right? Yeah, exactly.
I'll keep you clean.
It would keep me very clean. This is right now, at least. I've got a very small windshield on the front of it that did come with it, and it's an amazing little windshield. It's not very big, but it does a hell of a good job. The seat is very good. The seat's remarkably good for as shitty as it looks. It's a really good seat.
Well, but it looks correct for that bike.
It does look correct for that bike. And it's a nice, comfortable seat because you can slide all over on the son of a bitch. Now, the problem is the pipes. And the pipes, which aesthetically are quite pleasing, are terrible.
They look thick.
Oh, it's thick, all right. Yeah, it's thick. It probably makes the motorcycle 6 inches wider on the right-hand side.
It's kind of like the air cleaner on the Harley. Yeah. It just sticks in your leg and you know it's there, but at least it's not burning you.
Right.
So,
you mean the air charger?
Yeah,
the filter charger?
The hypercharger.
The hypercharger. Yeah, the hypercharger.
After about 30 minutes, you're like, yep, there it is.
Still there.
Still there.
Fucking hurt. It hurts. Yep. Yeah, so that's going to... And I don't want to do a pipectomy on this. I think the best solution is for me to just get the motorcycle out of my system and sell it to somebody else. Just be done with it. Have my experience. Hey, it was here. That's great. I did it. And then fucking off it.
So you put that on ADV Rider and that thing will fucking go in 5 seconds.
So if you have 2 Vespas sitting at your house right now, and you're not doing anything with them, right. You really want to try them.
Right. Exactly. Right. I'd like to undo my trade.
Well, but this
I'd like to back out of the trade.
But this is a couple years into its limited exclusivity of what, 1,000 of these?
Yeah, there were 1,000 made, and I have bike number 333.
Right. So, I mean, that's worth
That's kind of interesting that it's bike number 333.
Dude, at Meekum, that's a $100,000 motorcycle.
Oh, my God. I didn't even think about that.
Right?
What the fuck is wrong with me?
Yeah. What the fuck are you doing, dude?
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, don't touch it. Meekum that shit.
Meekum that shit. I'm going to Meekum all over this thing.
You have
There's a dumbass born every minute. They're all Meekum.
Dude, you have documented exclusivity.
I do.
That right there. Every rich white 70-year-old with more money than he knows what to do.
This thing came with a letter from Steve McQueen's family.
Yeah.
I'm not joking. They probably came with a letter from Steve McQueen's family.
They dug him up and had him
signed by Steve McQueen's son, saying that this was an authorized joint venture between the McQueen family estate.
All I hear is Meekum.
Yep. And it does have almost no miles on it. So
they're paying $10,000 for Vietnamese Vespas, man.
I didn't even think about that. You're right. What am I doing trying to put it up on my stupid website?
I'm going to put it on Marketplace. Some dude in Mentor's going to be like, yo, man.
I'll give you $500 for it.
I got a 78 Camaro and a 6-pack, and I can pay you $300 a week unless my PO officer calls me.
Oh, it's just awful. So anyway, I want to make sure people could see who watch this stupid show what we're talking about, because it is a war crime. It's not great. It's not great. All right, so that's pretty fucking cool.
I thought this was to escape a war crime. That's the
Right.
original.
We should
It's for jumping fences.
we should mark this so
getting
we
away
can
from
go back.
Nazis.
How much do we think Phil will get for his bike at Mika?
Oh my God. Yeah. I see a lot of ghost bidding happening now. Yeah. A lot of phantom bidders. Yeah. So that's about that. All right. Anybody else? Hey, I saw that your Hunter Cub got a little bump on the back of it since last time I saw it.
Was not there. I thought I was on there last week.
I just didn't see it. It's gorgeous.
Yeah. Well, thank you.
That box is tremendous.
That's a genuine Pelican case that I bought at a yard sale for $20.
No way.
And it fit on there very well. So yeah,
It looks fantastic on the bike.
well, thank you.
You got the aerodynamic version.
It's low pro.
Yeah, very low profile.
He can deliver 2 extra large pizzas in there.
And those truly are waterproof, man. The Pelican
100% waterproof.
Yeah.
Easily. And what's the formula for how they price Pelican cases? Let me get this straight.
I don't know.
It's 85% of a Yeti. So like whatever a Yeti would cost, a Pelican case costs 85% of that same exact size case for a Yeti, or just give $100 per square foot. Yeah, I think that was our $100 per cubic foot. Yeah,
I believe it.
Yeah, that's
if you bought that Pelican case at retail, it's probably $400.
$400, yeah. When I was working at an audio place that we did sound and all kinds of stuff, we were a rental shop, so everything we did was Pelican cases. Mm-hmm. And when we would send Pelican cases out to the job site, we had a standard deposit, not for the 10 SM58s that were inside the Pelican case, but for the Pelican case itself.
See, that's where I scored, because occasionally what you'll do is like one of the rental houses I used to use for when I had my business, they decided to brand all their Pelican cases, so they sold off all their old ones.
We did, yeah.
So like I bought, this has been, I don't know, 15 years ago, I bought like a 1609 and something else for like a third of the price. Them fucking, I've never needed, I've gone through 15 different video cameras, 15 different things, but it's always the same case.
Of course.
And you can't kill it.
No, that's what the thing is. With that case that's on the back of your bike, it's bomb-proof.
Yep.
There's nothing you can do to it. Yeah. Yeah, I had the ones that I kind of liberated from the company I used to work for, but they were like branded with an actual hot three-dimensional brand with the, you know, the relief and everything else. So you could see it at a long distance what company owned those cases.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, I can sand that off. Yeah.
Yeah. But the funny part is that's what the guy was there. He was like, when we were at the sale, when they were selling the old ones, he's like, that seems like a lot of money to pay just to have your name on some boxes. And the guy's like, well, it makes it a lot harder to steal when you can't wipe the name off the piece of tape.
When you can't put a sticker over the sticker. The what do they call that? Inventory control stickers?
Yeah.
That are like, oh, these are Mylar 3-dimensional hologram. No, this is branded in. This is like, blind people can know that this is a stolen case. Yeah, it's pretty bad. So that's cool. So that was a yard sale find.
Yeah.
God, man, what the hell? They probably had like a 16-channel mixer or something in there. It was a beautiful case.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
It's the size of an old like Samsonite or something.
But it's perfectly sized for the back of your bike.
Yeah, it works well.
If somebody said, yeah, we're going to build these out just to be, because I got a stainless steel travel case years ago before the trend was aluminum boxes on the back of adventure bikes. And I had a stainless steel travel case that was exactly 50% bigger than a milk crate in every dimension. So it was like, 4 inches taller than a milk crate, 4 inches wider than a milk crate. And I mean, it filled up the back of a KLR 650 perfectly. And I had it rigidly bolted through it. The whole bike could fall over and land on this case, and it was going to support it. There was no doubt about it. And I loved that damn thing. And it was all foam lined, stainless steel trap case, perfect for the whole world.
There was like 7 or 8 other KLR 650 owners, like with their milk crates bungee corded on, going poser.
Oh, what I thought was funny,
reinvent the wheel,
was the guy was like, the motorcycle and stuff, that's fine, but the giant, ridiculous stainless steel trap case on the back, that's a little ridiculous. 5 years later, people can't put enough aluminum boxes on the back of their motor vehicles, on their motorcycles.
Ask AI to make a fucking adventure bike. Right. It comes with like 72 fucking cases.
That's all it is. It's a case transportation system. That's it. And I was just like, but for me, that box was perfect because I knew that I could put everything I needed for the weekend, long weekend, in that one box and didn't have to worry about making the bike wider. Because my problem was always I didn't want the KLR to be too wide because that limits where I can go. So, adding things to the side of the bike has never been really attractive to me.
Well, yeah, and it's funny. A lot of times, like I was always sold, like, well, the boxes aren't any wider than your handlebars. But I'm like, yeah, but if I come up in two trees, I can go like this with the bars and walk through it.
Yeah,
you can't do that.
I can put my KLR in a hotel room.
Yeah.
First shot every time.
Right.
Security doesn't even see me coming. It's just like, whoop, whoop, and I'm in the hotel room. That's just it. Anything else, I got to spend how much time in the parking lot? Okay, I got to get these off, got to get those off, get that off. Okay, get those in the hotel room first. Okay, now let's sneak the bike in. Slows you way down, man. I'm a big fan of sneaking the motorcycle into hotel rooms.
Oh, yeah, I sleep so much better if my bike's in the room.
Hell yeah. Oh, and here's the trick. Call ahead when you book. Say, yeah, is there any chance the accessible room's available? Oh, it is. Do you need the accessible room? Yeah, I'm going to need the accessible room if that's at all possible. Okay, great. Yeah, if somebody else needs it more than I do, you can give it up to them. That's fine. But I'd really be happier with the accessible room. They will never say no under any circumstances. I've never had it taken away from me, and there's usually 5 or 6 of them. The whole first floor. And if you say accessible on the way in, this way the room that you're booking is accessible. And I'm like, yeah, can you put it on the back side of the spot too? I don't want the lights and the noise of cars pulling and everything else. And you'd think that they would know he's asking for an accessible room on the back side of the hotel where it's quiet. That son of a bitch is going to be putting a motorcycle in there. These guys, people at hotels have gotten, it ain't the first time somebody's done an oil change in room 106, It just can't be. Too many motorcycles out there.
Remember to put the towel down first.
Oh, believe me. Yeah. That's when you hit their dumpster. You hit the dumpster and you get all the cardboard boxes out of the dumpster when you're doing the room oil change.
There's a pro tip for the kids today.
Yeah.
If you go to a motel, and you're going to do something on your bike, if you need to work on it, oil change or just clean it off or whatever, if you ask at the desk, do you have any old towels?
Yeah.
They are more than happy to give them to you.
Oh, really?
Yeah, absolutely, because they don't want you using the good towels to clean it, and they always have like cleaning rags or like towels or sheets that have holes in them that they.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they will always give you old towels. And
that's
sometimes
fantastic.
they want them back, and most of the time they say just throw them away when you're done.
Really?
Yep.
Oh, that's cool. And you are letting them in on the idea that you're going to be doing maintenance on your motorcycle in the room?
Correct.
Whoa.
Or just like you get up in the morning, especially when we're down these BDR routes where your bike gets all muddy and you just want to wipe it down in the morning.
Yeah.
You wipe it down and then you throw the towels away.
Right on.
And they keep stuff on hand just for
that is a pro tip. I mean, we were shocked, like when we stayed down by the Dragon and stuff like that. Yeah, those are motorcycle-centric hotels. So it's not at all shocking that they've got a whole bin of, towels that you can use to wash your bike and all that kind of crap. That was nice, but it wasn't exactly surprising. They're leaning into it. But to hear like a regular hotel is going to help you out like that. That is a pro tip. That's actually really good.
And quite frequently, if you look around the hotel, there'll be some sort of an outside hose, especially if they have a pool or something there.
Yep.
And you can find a hose to spray it off if you need to.
Absolutely.
When I was on my way down to the Blue Ridge trip, and I took those 2 days to get down there, when I got to the hotel on the first night, the lady was like, "Oh, you're on a motorcycle?" I was like, "Yeah." She goes, "Take everything that you can take off of it into your room."
Yeah.
I said,
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
"Oh, great, great, thanks." So then I just put the windows on. I'm like, I don't care. They can see me in my underwear.
Doesn't
I'm
matter.
leaving that fucker open all night, man.
And what's the name of this metropolis?
London something, Kentucky, London, Kentucky or something.
London, Kentucky.
Yeah.
So apparently the staff knew. The staff knew your shit was going to get stolen.
Yeah.
There you go. That's it. Can't trust them for nothing. Not for nothing.
Well, we got a
You should
super
have said back to her, like, I don't have to take anything off of it. It's going to be in the room.
yeah.
As long as the door locks work, we're good.
You're going to want to take everything off that bike and put it in your room. That's a great piece of advice. I think I'll do that. And I might just extend it all the way to the motorcycle itself.
Yeah.
Since you've filled me with such confidence in your shitty security.
And it seems like you might own the place. So what's your insurance to replace a carpet compared to replacing my bike?
Exactly. Can you tell me where I can find some cardboard boxes to put on your carpet?
Yeah.
That's always my moves. I lay down cardboard, just try to make it nice.
That's a good idea. I should have said that. Yeah.
I always go to the dumpsters, find the cardboard in the dumpsters, lay them down so I don't want to fuck the carpet up and I want to make it weird.
I'm a little nervous worse than what I would have found in the dumpsters around there.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. So that's a thing, man. That's a thing. All right, so going around the horn,
these guys.
Who's got our next traveling story? Because somebody's been out west.
So this last weekend, I was on an amazing ride from kind of a collab with Moscow Moto. There's a guy from Moscow Moto that had all the tracks, and then the Ducati Pacifica Portland Motorcycle Group put together an invite for anybody who wanted to attend over Memorial Day weekend. And since I didn't really want to spend time with the family, might as well get out on the two wheels. So we rode. The estimate before we left was probably about 1,200 miles, but I don't know that we rode all that because we cut a little bit here and there. But just amazing country. Great weather. We didn't have any.
But that's not 1,200 miles. Wasn't just 1,200 miles. A lot of that was off road, right?
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, a lot of gravel, a lot of farm road.
Yeah, so
that
that
the peaks and stuff. But since I was riding a little 250, any of the highway stuff felt very, very long.
It's fucking real long, man.
Yeah, and very windy. There was some gusts because we're riding down the Columbia River, and it gets really gusty.
It does get really windy.
Since it's a windsurfing capital of the world.
Did not know that.
Yes.
That's kind of fucking amazing.
Yeah. Although, and any motorcyclists out there who ride in that area, you absolutely know that riding across the Hood River Bridge is fucked.
Really?
It is metal grate the entire way.
Oh!
And I had knobbies on, so if you've ever ridden the big metal grate with knobbies, it's terrifying with wind crossing.
I'm looking forward to that because we're going to be there next Saturday.
Well, there's 3 different bridge options.
Okay.
So there's Bridge of the Gods, there's Hood River, and then there's one further down.
Okay.
And the grates are terrifying. Although you could, I'm trying to think where you're going to cross.
We're going to cross from White Salmon, which is where Moscow is, right over
so that's
to
going to be
Hood
Hood
River.
River. You can either ride down to Bridge of the Gods or you can ride up to the other one.
Okay. Which would you recommend?
Depends on how far east you're going. Because you could make a lot of time just going east on the Washington side.
We're going to be going south from there.
Right, but you're going to go straight south? Or
I believe so, yeah. We're going to be doing the Oregon BDR.
yeah. So I can't
Which
remember
I
where
think
that
I believe it terminates in Hood River. The northern terminus of it, I believe.
Well, then I look forward to your replay of that crossing.
Yeah.
Okay.
That sounds like a winner. So how long is it?
The bridge?
Yeah.
I mean, whatever the width of the river is at that point.
Yeah.
That's the Columbia River. That's a big river.
It can be pretty wide. I don't know if it's a half mile.
I was going to say half mile is totally within reason. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's terrifying.
Yeah, at 10 miles an hour because you're behind cars. You've got no speed.
So let's circle back to a second. Like you talked about the windsurfing capital of, let's say, North America, because all the wind that comes off the Pacific, it goes right up the Columbia River Valley, and it gets like channeled in there, and so you're going perpendicular to that wind when you're crossing the river.
Yeah.
And
so I definitely recommend crossing in the morning and not in the evening.
Okay.
Or in the afternoon, because the afternoon the wind gets really dicey.
Fierce.
Real
Yeah,
dicey.
real fierce.
Yeah.
But
it is really stunning landscape to ride through.
You know, that's one of those trips. The last time that I was there, I went using Amtrak and I was doing the Empire Builder. And so we rolled through and so we go down the Columbia River, right? It was the way to do it. You're in the train, you got the cool, the roomette thing. You're just staring out the window. And I mean, it's just perfect scenery on top of perfect scenery on top of perfect scenery. It just never gets bad.
No, it's beautiful.
It's fantastic. And to be able to do that on a motorcycle, be able to get off and get access into areas, it's just super cool.
Well, I know that like when Pete goes out there, he's planning on camping at the Moscow Moto campground. Like they've got a site for
it's called the Bates Motel.
right, but it's from Moscow's got it all set up.
Yeah, Moscow owns the property, but it's on a road called Bates Road, so they call it the Bates Motel.
Right.
Okay, all right.
And Bates makes some, or not Bates, Moscow makes some great stuff and
They do
super
make some
friendly
great
people,
stuff.
amazing
Yeah.
friendly people. And the Ducati riders group, they're open to all kind of riders. So it's not, you don't have to just ride Ducatis, but there was, on that one, there were 2 Desert X's and they loved those. There was a 701 Husky and then there's a 890 KTM and also a 690 KTM.
That Ducati Desert X is making me think bad things.
I mean, I think you could maybe swap
I think
that
I'm
old,
right. So
that old nasty Triumph you've got over
You
there.
could probably swap a 22 Triumph Stephen Queen for a fucking Desert X.
Yeah, they're riding the shit out of them.
The trade and bike thing is fun, man. Like once you're just in it and you have nothing, like you don't care. It's fun to just try. Like this is. It's kind of cool, man.
It is. I think that appeals to me more than anything else. Would be like, hey, man,
Yeah.
you've had that for a while. I've had this for a while. Let's see how the other half lives. Yeah. That was one of those ones I was kind of thinking on a 5-year plan with the Desert X to be like, yeah, okay, let some of the newness come off of that thing. Mm-hmm. And let's find somebody that's got one.
It's lightly used.
Yes.
Don't get out.
Crash twice. Crash twice. I like bikes that are crashed twice.
I like ones that are garaged and dusty and, didn't quite work out. Didn't quite fit. I was a little too short for it. Whatever it is.
That's a pretty good example.
Yeah.
Bates Motel. Yes. So this is pretty cool. Moscow Moto's site. They're talking about all the improvements that they've done up there. And yeah, that's some pretty nice living they got going on.
Yeah, that's like the community space there. They have a little outdoor shower there. It's still primitive camping, but they have like this semi-permanent tent living room.
That's cool though. I mean,
kitchen
that's
thing.
a place to get your boots off and,
So is there like how do they keep
out?
vandals from fucking this up?
They live right up the street from there. So their shop is in White Sam, and this is like 10 miles away, maybe eight miles or something. And they're like actual living quarters. This is like on their property kind of.
Oh, cool.
They have some oversight of it. And the cool thing is there's always like-minded people there. So you go there might be some mountain bikers standing there. It could be, there was a guy that was like, one of those camper ambulance vehicles there. Mm-hmm. There's always motorcycle guys. And they ask that you let them know that you're coming. So you don't have to have a reservation per se, but kind of like give them a heads up that you're going to be passing through. And
it looks pretty damn cool.
So is there a place around there to throw a tent and stuff? Like
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
It kind of looks like that whole area, that pea gravel is like proper.
It is, yeah.
For drainage and not getting muddy, and that's pretty nice. I imagine it gets kind of moist up there.
I mean, dewy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, and obviously if it's raining in the wintertime and stuff, like you're
Yeah.
going to be hopefully wearing some good gear. But
Yeah, there you go.
at this time of year, it's pretty nice.
That looks like an all-weather situation going on right there.
Yeah.
They are leaning hard into it. That's nice. I like it. That looks cool. I like that. I like the look of that a lot. How long were you on the road? How long were you out on that journey?
So we met up at Moscow at 9, and then I hit the road maybe 10. And then first we had a little bit of a longer day the first day. We were planning on doing 350, 380, something like that.
Yeah.
But on the first major gas stop, the KTM 690 had a cylinder issue for the clutch.
Yeah, clutch it. Yeah.
So we had a very nice 3-hour wait there. Well, one of the other riders, his amazing girlfriend, drove down with one that was in his garage from his 701 that we could swap onto the 690. And she brought all the camping gear,
nice,
lots of food, and a great attitude. And so she just hung out with us for the rest of the weekend. She brought 2 dogs with us. And so it was just like a real family affair. Everyone was just chill. Apparently that gas station has amazing chicken tenders because that was a favorite among the group.
So people going nuts on the available.
Yes.
Yeah.
But we also saw a fair amount of 1%ers riding through there.
Yeah.
Really?
These couple of guys from, I think, Iowa, they were putting in the miles. They were going from there to Iowa that day, I think. And they had gone up, I think had done probably a couple thousand miles that week. Yeah, they were really putting in the miles on that one.
Man, that is.
And then there was a second group coming up from, I think, Utah.
Okay.
And probably, 8 or 9 riders up there. Chatted with a few of us. Again, lots of respect for guys that are going to put, 600-700 miles on a bike.
That's fantastic.
It
that
seemed
really
like to be
is.
the crossroads of the neighborhood. So we just kind of hung out and we're just pretending like we were camping there on the asphalt. Got the thing swapped in, and then we just kept putting in the miles, and we ended up getting to camp. And it was a little bit after dark.
Okay.
And just had a great night that night. And then we rode, which direction? We rode a little farther, kind of east and south. We kind of ended up overlooking I think we ended up at the Snake River campsite that night, the next night.
Right.
So we were camped overlooking the Snake and just right off the road, beautiful, full moon. Like that was actually kind of kept us up a little bit because it was just such beautiful weather.
When you said Snake River, all I could think of was like,
Oh, and
Like it needs sound effects behind it. Like,
I'm trying to remember this place that's out there, but it's a restaurant next to this gas station.
Right.
Amazing food, like the best Monte Cristo any of these people had ever had in their life. This amazing. I had a wilted spinach salad.
Yeah.
They've hand cut chips where they like triple wash the chips and they're like paper thin and perfectly crispy.
Wow.
I'm trying to remember what the name is. Was it something like Hell's Canyon Inn or something like that?
You just would not expect that. There's no way.
Absolutely. But Jason, the guy who was doing the tracks and doing the guiding, he'd been there. He's ridden a ton of that space out there, and he knew it was going to be a definite winner. So if you're in that area, it's kind of the a little past the John Day area.
Okay. All right.
But amazing food there. And super friendly, amazing friendly people. The parking lot's right next to the...
Did you ever eat soup when you were out there?
No soup.
Yeah, because I was in Oregon and it was fucking freezing.
No, we had beautiful weather. Weather.
When I was there, so I was like, I would really like some soup. We went to like 4 different restaurants in 4 different days, and when I asked for soup, they looked at me like I had 2 heads or something. Like, do they not eat soup in Oregon on cold days?
It just seems like it should be an obvious damn thing, right?
maybe that's why they're so fucking depressed. Like they need soup.
So you
They call it coffee there.
yeah, it's coffee. We're a coffee sticker out
It's
there.
a bean soup.
Oh man. So that whole area up there, I mean,
Great, amazing riding
just
roads.
amazing.
Both
I mean, it's
dirt
beautiful.
and pavement. The pavement's all super clean and paved.
That's
like last
cool.
couple of years, it seems it's super smooth.
yeah, that's
Your BMW would be, I mean, you would be hard pressed to keep it under 120 on some of those roads.
Oh, that'd be sick. Yeah.
that just sounds fantastic.
Not that I'm
I mean, that really
advocating
sounds
any kind of
great.
breaking the
Of course
speed
not.
limit.
Yeah, no.
Absolutely not.
We
Yeah.
all
Allegedly,
abide by the
none of us
speed limit
ever.
here.
We never do that stuff.
Right, but I didn't have that problem on my 250. I was pinned at like 71. So
Yeah, it was again your choice.
I had the small bike.
The small bike.
Yes, the smallest bike out there.
How big was your group? How many people were with you?
We had it varied because one guy took off early and then one guy added in, so there was an overlap. But in general, about 5 riders in one car.
Oh,
And then-
okay. That's a small group. Okay.
Yeah. I thought it was going to be maybe a little bit bigger, but I think the weekend kind of had an impact on it. But we had perfect weather. And
Were these guys you've ridden with before? Or
I've never ridden with any of these guys.
Okay, that's cool.
A couple of the guys had ridden with each other. The guy on the 890 was he'd been riding for about 3 years, and this was kind of his first dirt trip. And he really had more like 70-30 tires, but he did great. Had never had any issues. The Ducatis were more 50-50s, and mine were like 30-70 knobbies. So
Yeah.
I was great on the gravel, but unfortunately, like a day before, I'd kind of thrown out my back. So when you're riding on gravel, you need to move around quite a bit
gotta
more.
move around a lot.
And it was just like riding with a plywood spine. It was incredibly painful the entire trip, but
Yeah, that
it was a great
sounds
time
awful.
getting out. Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds like great trip, but
Yes.
yeah, tough.
And then
What do you think the perfect bike is for that trip? Because now that you clearly have done it on
the perfect
250.
bike for my trip would
Yeah.
be the bike that I've just picked up here on a thank you Facebook Marketplace, an FE 450.
Yeah, cool.
And so we ride up to the peaks. We got up to like 6,000 feet, overlooks the valleys, beautiful, blah blah blah. There was still snow up there,
Yeah.
so we kind of had to turn around on some sections. On the last night camping out there, there was a little bit of a miscommunication.
Okay.
And basically, since I was the slow when I was coming up, and the plan was we always had the GPS coordinates and tracks and everything. But the major intersections, they would stop and wait, and then we'd catch up and move on to left or right or whatever it needed to be. Well, it was so buggy out there, I couldn't see through my visor. And so I stopped in a place, and I took a roadside piss and had some water and wiped off my visor, and I'm waiting for the car to catch up. 5 minutes go by, 15 minutes go by, no car. Half an hour goes by. I'm like, fuck, I need to go back and see if...
Yeah, well, you got to double back.
If she's lost or a vehicle issue or if I got lost. So I turn around and I start riding back. Can't find her. Can't see any of the guys on the road.
What the hell?
I finally get flagged by a house that's there, and they said, 2 motorcycles, we're just looking for a solo. Is that you? So I'm like, oh, shit, it's me.
Yeah, that's me.
So I keep ripping down the road, and my light for gas is blinking. So I got to pull over. I got to take my tank, got to pour gas into it. And then they come up on me, and they're like, oh, thank God we couldn't find you. So let's go ride back to where we were waiting, because we're actually down
you're
past
literally
where I would. Yeah,
tripling
we
back.
added 60 miles to the trip.
Yeah, you're tripling back. That's terrible.
And so I'm leading because I'm slow and they didn't want to lose me.
Right.
Well, what do you do when 8 deer hop up off the ditch into the road at pitch black night and you slam on your brakes? Like I stopped and I could have petted this deer.
Yeah.
It was like 4 feet off my fender. So that was a little, we're like,
Bad.
okay, everybody just take it down to 40. 40 is a good speed. And we kept going.
Wow.
They were literally waiting about 1.25 miles past where I had stopped.
Jesus.
Yes.
Oh,
It was-
that's so frustrating.
Frustrating. But everyone was like, hey, everyone's safe. Nobody
Yeah.
got hurt. So we find this great spot that they'd found on a Overlander website. And it was like raised berm around it, like a fishing pond.
Wow.
You're just like camping in the grass. It's amazingly beautiful. The
Yeah.
birds are everywhere. And so we have some food.
Yeah.
And the next morning around 4:00, one of the riders starts throwing up. Had a little bit of food poisoning.
Oh, no.
It's from the gas station chicken tenders.
Now it was actually safe. It was Safeway salad, but it was probably a bag salad.
Yeah, it's bag salad, right?
And but like 5 people ate the salad,
Yeah.
and then so one guy's violently ill,
Yeah.
and so I run down the because we're only 4 miles out of town,
Right.
So I go get him some Pepto and some mints and
Sure.
some stuff and Pedialyte. And as I'm leaving, one of the other guy goes, my stomach's not feeling great. Could you get me some Pepto too? So when I get back, he's on his knees throwing.
Oh,
up.
yeah, yeah.
And I'm like, all right, so 2 of these guys, we were gonna leave at like 9:00, get back to Portland like 1 or 2.
So you're saying
We
you got
didn't-
back, these guys were tossing their salad?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know you're an expert salad topper.
First the one guy, and then the other one started in on the other guy. All right.
Yeah, but I mean, I've been in field situations where a bag of salad can destroy everybody.
And so,
Yeah.
but I didn't eat
Wait,
any
there's a
salad.
history out there. Remember when those yogi people from India were trying to take over the town and
Oh,
the
Wild
dog?
Country, yeah.
Oh, the Bhagwan Tree Rajneesh.
There you
Yeah.
go.
Rajneeshis, yeah.
Yeah, that was in
Bhagavad Gita.
that was right there. That was on the Columbia River Valley.
was it really?
In
The old Rajneeshi.
Wow.
So that's how
okay.
they did it. They were going to poison the salad bar the day before the election. So maybe you got some of their salad. That's
Maybe.
Right.
Okay.
So we didn't
That was
leave
a
till
long
like 2
haul
o'clock.
for that, man.
Yeah.
And so we had to stop like every 40 miles.
Well, yeah, you do. Yeah,
Because
absolutely.
we kind of split up. So
Yeah.
2 people, we followed them up to the river.
Right.
I was escorting one of the other riders.
Yeah.
And then 2 of the other riders were waiting until he felt better, and they were going to escort each other because we were all going
Okay.
to 3 different locations.
Oh, really?
At the end, yeah.
Okay.
And so we stopped like every 40 miles, lay down on a picnic table, hydrate. He could only take like saltines for most of the trip.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But he's on the 890, so his bike's easy. Mine's on the 250,
Right.
going into the wind and into the sun the entire ride, and it was just
Man.
brutal.
And
so I was
were
actually
you ill?
glad to get off the bike.
You weren't sick, though.
No, I didn't need.
You-
I didn't need
you
the salad.
dodged that, yeah.
I dodged
Right.
that. Very, very lucky.
Yeah.
But
What did you eat?
Well, because
Clearly not the bag
Well, it was
salad.
cold, and so I actually had some dehydrated food because we were going to camp the whole time. So I just put like the breakfast one. So I had some eggs and hot
Yeah.
potatoes and stuff. So it was totally fine. But no, everybody was just like it gave us time to all the ones that weren't sick were
Yeah.
just kind of like hanging out and chatting and catching up and. But yeah, it was nothing worse than
No, that's terrible. Yeah, when you've got stomach flu, when you've got food poisoning, it's both ends. It is not cool.
Yeah.
And riding a motorcycle and having to deal with that.
Not
The
good.
motorcycle on top of it, right? That's the worst part.
Well, because the motorcycle is just agitating everything.
Right.
You're just
And
stirring
you
it
got
up.
all your gear on
Yeah.
and stuff.
Yeah,
It's
if you
like-
want to go if you need to take an emergency right now power dump,
Yeah.
you can't.
Or you don't want to throw up in your helmet.
That's also the other one.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. Yeah,
But
it's tough.
Yeah, but if that hadn't happened, it would have been really a perfect
trip.
Yeah.
And where were you guys set up for the night then? I put a map up for your viewing pleasures.
While we're talking about Snake River Canyon, did you happen to go to like the Evel Knievel launch site or anything while you were there?
No.
Okay.
No.
I've been out there too. I've never been to it, but I guess it still exists.
It's still there.
And I would like to see it sometime.
I know Liza went out there and, staged the photo and pulled the bike up to the ramp or whatever. So
Did she have her Evel Knievel suit on?
I wonder if she did.
That would be awesome.
Because that would be pretty rad. Yeah.
I mean, it was we were kind of riding in the general area of the John Day area.
Yep.
So, but we were camping a little bit south and a little bit east of that because we wanted to have kind of a light ride back to Portland if we
Yep.
needed to.
Yeah.
So the major push was the first day to get out there.
Absolutely.
But Yeah, I mean, any of those roads realistically are just so stunning.
Yeah.
Direct route, how far is it across the state of Oregon? Or from Portland to, say, the Snake River?
I mean, I think roughly somewhere between 300 and
Yeah, I was going to say, on the map, it
Okay.
kind of looks like 400 miles, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because we didn't get all the way there the first night, so that was kind of our destination the second day of routing. So, and we were doing, up in the hills. And,
Yeah, say obviously you weren't on the interstate or
No,
even
no.
2-lane highways, right?
Yeah, that was all 2 lane.
Yeah, I got to do that. I have to do that area because I've never been in Spokane. I've never been to Coeur d'Alene, right? I've always been, every trip I've ever taken, Seattle, I'm always pushing down. So I'm always pushing south. So I've never done that northern part. And that's where I'd like to do it.
Because you've never ridden the eastern side of either Washington or Oregon?
Right, exactly. So to me, that's like, looking at that and saying, well, okay, here we go. We've got this whole part of the map that I just have not spread any of my DNA on.
Well, I think like when you say Pacific Northwest, people think it's green and wet and cold,
Yeah.
but it's like that's the Cascade Range.
That's the
on the
Cascade
coast.
Range.
But once you get inland, you get high desert, you get lava fields.
Yeah, dude, I had no idea. You were
Yeah.
showing me pictures before, and I was like, "Say what?"
Yeah,
Yeah.
Like, it
and
kinda
well,
blew-
it had rained, so the grass was still green. But you give it another 2 weeks, and that'll all be brown
Right.
and hot.
But still, like the
beautiful.
vistas and the like freaking. Oh my
Yeah.
god, man! I had no clue.
Yeah, I'm missing out on that spot right there. The Nez, from the Nez Perce up, right?
Yeah.
That's a hole. That's a hole I don't have. I've gone down Snake River. I've done that, but everything above where you see that the Nez Perce the reservation, everything north of that, I haven't touched any of that. But that's all wide open to me. That's all spots I need to get my ass out there. And meanwhile, there's a lot of really cool stuff up there that I'd like to do. That whole Panhandle area, man, there's so much stuff I'd like to do. I've been up in Bellingham. I've done all the Vancouver stuff.
Right, and that's all the wet side of the state. So
It is.
You really have to go
Yeah.
late spring and summer.
Yeah, exactly.
'Cause even spring, you get huge amounts of rain dumping.
Man, yeah. And when I did an Alaska trip years and years ago, we thought we had it right. We didn't have it right. We got black flies, and it was just miserable.
Yeah.
That was awful. And
Well, and since you mentioned Alaska, we'll revisit your pro tip about peeing on bridges.
am I wrong?
Yeah, no. We didn't have any pee bridging here.
Yeah.
but because that was not necessary.
Yeah, I do not have any problem giving that advice to people because I promise you, the guy who gave it to me, I called bullshit. And my first time taking an airborne, piss off a bridge, the goddamn bears came up on the other end because they heard me
Yeah.
or smelled me or something. And yeah, those bears were 100% interested in what we had going on. And I can
They're
tell
very
you.
playful, Phil.
Okay, so we have a customer came into the shop not 2 weeks ago, and they had a Vespa 300 that they do touring and stuff on. And there's a fucking hole in the side of this. Vespas are made of steel, and they're not made of car steel. They're made of much thicker galvanized steel. And Vespas are not fucking around. And there was a hole in the side of the Vespa from a bear claw.
Yeah. Well,
And-
you see the pictures of them, and they just push open car doors like it's a tin can.
Exactly.
And they don't even. I mean,
Yeah.
Could you leave it unlocked and use a handle maybe next time?
Maybe
But-
next time.
Yeah.
And I said, what the hell was going on? Like, did you antagonize the bears or something? And like, no, the bears we were camped in Tennessee. The bears just wanted to investigate.
Yeah.
And they wanted to see what we had going on. And so they were gonna toss the Vespa. And I was like, well, she's like, I had a lip balm, like a cherry lip balm or something under the seat of the Vespa. And apparently that bear was like, that's going to be mine.
Yeah, that was enough.
And he was going to open that Vespa like a fucking tin can.
Well, think about it. That shit does smell good.
Well, yeah, right, okay. Well done, well played.
That was just black.
It wasn't honey flavored.
Right,
Yeah.
That was just gonna be a black bear.
I don't know,
anyway.
and I may have the location wrong because she did say, and the markings on the bike were pretty fucking substantial. It was like, whatever bear that was, I wasn't fucking around with it.
Yeah.
Black bear, brown bear, grizzly bear. I'm staying the hell away
It
from it.
wasn't boo boo.
It was not boo boo. Yeah. But to see the amount of damage they can do, in retrospect, when I heard that tip, I was just like, okay, this is an old timer that makes this trip all the time.
Right.
And when we did that trip, it was chip tar. It wasn't improved roads. A lot of it was gravel. A lot of it was chip tar. It was rougher. And so the idea of peeing on a bridge, I was like, well, it's a small price to pay. It's an easy habit to develop. And it paid off. it does give you a little warning.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, because the idea is you're like, oh, okay, I'm here. There's clearly nothing here for miles and miles and miles, except for all of the animals that find you to be the most interesting and delicious thing that they've seen in quite a while.
Well, the thing that was really surprising for all of us is the birds waking up at sunrise was unbelievably
It's like a light switch, man.
loud. It just, I mean, you could put earplugs in and it would still
it's
wake
an
you
alarm
up.
clock.
Yeah.
It is absolutely an alarm clock. Yeah, I'm excited. That whole area, that you got me fired up about that. That's really exciting. Yeah, that's neat. And so you're doing BDR.
We are. I'm flying into Seattle next week, Wednesday.
Okay.
And then we're going to ride from Seattle down to Redmond, Oregon, which is just outside of Bend, on half of the Washington BDR and then half of the Oregon BDR.
Okay.
We'll get just about where we need to go. And we're doing this with a new Honda Monkey and a Honda CT90 that has a Chinese motor transplant. So
you decided to take the easy route.
yes,
Right.
Yeah.
So wait,
So
how
you're
are
doing-
the bikes getting there?
My buddy lives in Seattle. These are his bikes.
Oh, I thought you
I'm
were
not using my monkey. I'm using his monkey.
Oh, okay. Well, that's even a bonus.
That is a bonus.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a good move. Yeah, that's pretty rad. So you're going to do Seattle. So you're starting in Seattle? Is
From
that the plan?
Seattle, yeah, we're going to
Yeah.
go east until we intercept the Washington BDR.
Mm-hmm.
Then we will go south on the Washington BDR down to
The Oregon.
till we hit the the Columbia River.
Columbia River, yeah.
And then we'll pick up the Oregon BDR from there, continue south till we get to Bend, and we'll peel off at Bend and go over to Redmond, which is just 30 miles or something.
Okay.
And then we're going to do the BMW convention, national convention in Redmond next weekend.
Fantastic.
Yeah. And then we'll ride back to Seattle from there. So probably be like 4 days to get down there, 4 days at the convention, and then 4 days riding back to Seattle. So it'd be like a 2-week turnaround.
That's fantastic.
altogether.
That is great.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Now,
an excellent tour.
Are these bikes set up? Like, how are you carrying stuff, and how are you like?
Well, the Trail 90s have those huge luggage platforms on the back,
Okay.
and my buddy's got his set up, tuned in, and everything with luggage on it, some sort of a Pelican case, but a Harbor Freight version, whatever,
All right.
And then the Honda Monkey's got a rack on the back of it, and like just a sling over bag, and then stuff will be stacked on the rack. But we're gonna be traveling real light. I actually just bought a new tent. I haven't bought a new tent in like 20 years, but I bought an ultralight one-person tent, and we're not carrying any food, minimal. We'll have some peanut butter and tuna fish in case we get stuck somewhere, but we're just gonna eat at gas stations, chicken tenders and bag salad.
How many miles do you think that is?
I don't remember what the numbers were, but I think it's about 600 miles to get down there, the way we've got it planned out.
Pete and his brother roll different. They get his
roll
tuna
different.
fish and his peanut butter.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, we'll bring some packages of oatmeal, whatever.
Yeah, I gotcha.
It don't take much.
That's awesome.
Once we
dude.
get to the rally, it's like there'll be food vendors there and
Yeah.
stuff. So
Yeah, that seems like it's going to be a lot of fun.
I think so. I'm hoping for good weather. I'm hoping. I
It's
know
going to
that
be hot. You're going to need
I think
water.
that's the consensus.
That's some
Okay.
water.
we're going to be at altitude though too. I think we're going to hit some of the snow you're talking about because both the Washington and the Oregon BDR follow the spine of the Cascades.
Cascades
there.
Mountain, yeah.
And there's a couple places that are pretty high. I forget what the elevation profiles are, but I think we're going to be at 10,000 feet a couple times. So you get the shadow side of the mountain up there. I don't think the winter melt off is completely done, or the spring melt off is completely done yet. So there's going to be maybe some sloppy spots up there, but. We'll see.
Being on the small bikes like that, on that kind of like a epic trip, that has to be fun as shit because like you're taking a lot of the biggest part of the BDRs on a big bike is like the falling over or lifting the bike if you get stuck or something. That takes that whole equation out. Like if you're stuck, you just pick it up and move it over. Like
Right. Or if you fall, you don't fall that far.
Right,
That's true,
exactly.
too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
and you're straddling, and
Correct.
you can kind of pick the bike up over stuff compared to when you're on a big bike and you're just hanging on to the thing, or
Yeah, and you're not going that fast. If you fall, you're closer to the ground. You're going slower. It's like, yeah.
We had this intention. Remember, we were going to do the mighty BDR. We did the poster.
Right, exactly. We did the promotional material.
Yes, we did.
Right. All you got to do is follow it up. That's it. Just too fucking busy. And that's the problem is we're all sitting there going, okay, so now on your schedule, when can we put 7 days in a row? Mm-hmm. And we're like, okay, to do the trip right, we need 7 days. You're like, okay, everybody tell us the perfect time that you're going to have 7 days. And I'm like, yeah, October, November, December, all the months that have burr in them. Mm. And then like everybody else is like, no, I don't want to do that. You know? And I was like, well, that's when I can do it. That's when I can take a week away or 2 weeks away. That's my only opportunity. Yeah. This shop is shorthanded as it is. There's no way to do it. You know, that's the time. Right now it's, you know, I have to make time. Oh, yeah. That's it. That's all there is to it. 5 hours and 25 minutes if you did a car drive from Seattle to that Redmond, Oregon. Okay. 5 hours, 25 as the crow flies. However, if you're going to do it on a Trail 90, it says 33 hours.
You could just put it in bicycle route.
That's what I did. That's exactly. I'm not shitting you. I was going to make fun of you, but that's exactly what I did.
Yeah, so 33 hours. That's 4 days, right. 8 hours a day.
Yeah, you know? I did. I routed it out, and I was like, okay, looking at the bicycle route, and I was like, actually, this is kind of the route you're taking.
And that's another pro tip. When I'm planning a motorcycle trip, especially on one of the small bikes, I always put in bicycle route
because that's not far off of the route you're taking.
It takes you on a much more interesting route.
Right.
It keeps you off the interstates. Yeah. And I think for planning purposes, if you want an adventurous route, that's the way to go.
It's not a bad idea.
Have you used the BMW navigation thing for figuring out maps?
No.
I'm going to try it tonight.
Okay.
I wanted to know. Yeah, because like I finally got everything linked up and shit and all the stuff working. Yeah. And it has its own navigation and it has a thing that says, would you like to go fast or would you like it super curvy? So I'm gonna stretch that thing over that way. Then you can tell it to avoid highways, main roads, gravel or no gravel, all that kind of shit. So
really,
I'm gonna see.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah,
and some of your GPSs will do that too. Like Garmin's will do that.
Right. That's pretty neat. And do you think BMW is just piggybacking on like Rever or something?
I'm sure.
I think that's what it is. It's just they're just reskinning.
That's why I'm wondering how good it. I mean, it probably doesn't suck, but like it is kind of neat because it's so integrated. So if I use Curvier, which I have a subscription to Curvier, which
Curvier's
that's the one I've been enjoying a lot.
Okay,
but it doesn't do all the things. So now if I use their thing, it'll show me the map up here and it'll do turn by turn down here, and like it all works together and it works with music and I mean, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So one other thing I was just thinking, because Pete was talking about the small bikes. So a couple weeks before that trip, there's a place, a go-kart track in Canby, Oregon that has, they had a motorcycle day. And so they had small scooters. They had all the way up to an unpiped Goldwing.
This is insane.
And this guy was like backing it into the corners. Like he was driving the shit out of it.
Where can we find images of this?
Well, you can kind of check my Instagram if you wanted. So there's stuff on Mark Adams Pictures. All the color ones are from those guys. There should be, and if you look in like the last reel, I think there's some pictures. That's the most individual pictures. So the Goldwing's definitely in there. There's guys out on Harleys. There was a bunch of Supermotos. There was some Groms. There was a bunch of other stuff. And it was just, they were doing a sound test. So they needed a bunch of different bikes. So we were actually alternating with the drift cars. So there was like,
they were doing a sound test.
Yeah. For
the track, because they're encroaching on.
I think they want to do an event, and those are two permitted events. Right. So they need like an outside the permit event.
Yeah.
So go down to the bottom, the far left one.
The guy that looks like he's wearing a pinstripe suit.
Who took these pictures? They're all sideways.
Fucking sideways.
I know.
How do they teach people how to hold their phones?
I know.
Landscape mode.
Yes. Well, because obviously when you post a horizontal, it looks shitty.
It does. It does. You can't argue with that.
Yeah. So if you go one more over, not that picture, but go up one.
Wait a second. I'm going to load this up for our friends at home.
All right.
All right. And I'm going to make sure to not play the audio so we don't get demonetized.
Right. And so everyone was just having a blast, and at one point, I think somebody counted like close to 54 motorcycles out on this track. Now, this is a go-kart track, people. This is not a lot of space.
This is 1 mile, 10 turns if you're lucky.
I mean, I think there are more turns. Yeah. Because I pulled it up on a map and I was trying to count.
Oh, you did? That's good.
And do they count the little kinks as a turn? Or,
right.
Or
well,
like,
it can
be.
A-B
kind of thing?
Yeah, it can be.
But Like,
So, okay,
even
so-
like there were some like little 50s.
Looking
like,
at some of the, you're always going to have some cool 50s out there. That's going to be par for the course. But to have this bigger crap out there, and you're like, kart tracks are tight, man. And so
very, very tight.
motorcycle tracks have runoff. Kart tracks don't have any runoff.
Well, because
they've
got a decent straight.
They do walls.
So a lot of these guys would start ripping and doing wheelies down the full front straight. But everybody's just having a huge blast. So anybody out there, if you've got a go-kart track, bring the motorcycle.
I saw you had a picture of a guy in a Sportster out there.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Come on.
Just having fun.
That's just mental. That is mental. Yeah, it's cool. It's real cool.
I mean, it's a great way to learn to ride your bike.
It is. Yeah, our friends do
track days are awesome.
Our friends do an indoor go-kart track down in Cincinnati.
Okay.
And it's all XR50s and that kind of base stuff, and they call it Circus Bear Racing League. So Circus Bear Racing League does sound like a tremendous amount of fun, especially because that's winter friendly.
And it's
indoors.
pretty cheap too.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. I love the whole idea. I think it's great. Yeah, that's super cool. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that.
And
that's
a small
cool.
bike you can keep in your living room.
That's true too. That's the other one.
Keep it warm.
Keep it warm, man. Yeah, that's right. You don't ever have to winterize it if it never gets wintered. That's really, really cool. Yeah, that's neat. I appreciate the hell out of that. So cool. Yeah, that's neat.
Speaking of racing,
Yeah.
so before my big Sunday trip, Saturday, I went to Nelson's Ledges and I hung out with Paul and Andrea.
Yeah, getting some sidecar action.
It was fucking dope, dude.
Was that the vintage where they're running the
Yeah,
sword
all
stuff?
the vintage stuff. But dude, what a day! So like, I go out there and I'm just having fun. I'm filming.
Yeah.
I'm filming those guys, putting cameras on, sidecars, doing all this stuff, safety wire and shit, making sure the cameras aren't going to fly off, getting the approval. So like, we were legit. Like we didn't want to make sure we weren't doing anything
Make sure he's
shady or
cool.
sneaky
Yep.
or anything like that. But anyway, so like, I'm doing the typical thing. I'm following Paul around and Paul's just a great, like he understands the plan. We want to educate people about this, but we also
right.
want to make them feel like they're with us. So he was on point. He's telling us, all right, we're going to go register. We're going to go do this. We're going to whatever. Right. So about halfway through the day of doing this awesome thing, and like they ripped a few practices. Andrea went out on a CB350 and learned the track on the bike. She was racing.
She was out on a vintage CB350.
Yeah, so she's in that
Sat on
class.
her bike, yep.
And then she'd run back, they'd cool her down, then they'd both get in. She was in race 7 and then they were in race 10 in the karts. But so after they did a couple practices, they were like, "Yo, you guys got to get Steve to go talk to Larry." And I'm like, "Okay." I'm like, anytime somebody tells you to go talk to old Larry,
And Larry's on bike 309.
yeah, you gotta go and talk to Larry.
Yeah.
So I go sit down and really no clue why I have to talk to Larry.
Why do you have to talk to Larry?
But I set up the camera and I put mics on these guys and he tells me, and he goes, well, I've been racing motorcycles for 30 years. And he goes, it's something I've loved and I've been pretty good at and I've been fortunate, blah, blah, whatever. And he goes, 7 years ago, I went in for a simple surgery and I forget what it was. It was like some kind of like a mole or I don't know, whatever kind of surgery. I apologize. I can't remember. But it should have been something where you get the surgery, a week or two later, you're recovered and you're back at life, right?
Right. Absolutely.
But some kind of an infection got him and ended up attacking his spinal cord. And he found himself 3 weeks later completely paralyzed from the neck down.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there with the camera, like, did not expect any of this.
Nope.
And I'm like, whoa, And so, but meanwhile, as he's telling me this, I do notice that he's wearing leathers.
Right.
And there's canes everywhere and stuff. And I'm like, okay. So then he goes through and he gets like kind of emotional talking about like his struggles of like, and believe me, I'm not making fun of him when I say this. This is his words. And it's like, it was emotional, but he was like, it was a big deal for me. Like the day I got out of diapers.
Yeah.
He was like, I became an adult again. And he goes, I was so proud of myself for that. And, I'm sitting there like, wow, fuck, okay, my knee hurts, but shut up. This is stupid. Like my knee is not a problem anymore,
Not compared to what,
Right. And so then he was like, then he said like when he came to in the hospital, like he was literally like, how can I kill myself? I can't even kill myself because I can't move my arms to do it, kind of a thing. And I was like, damn. He said, but then the nurses got him to stand on a parallel bar because his one arm could kind of support weight. And he saw that he could kind of start to like move some stuff. So he started to do some PT. But then all his racing buddies were like, no, dude, we got something planned for you. Go to your PT and keep working through this shit. And we got a surprise for you. So meanwhile, his buddies went to England and they found this bike. It's a one-off bike that raced the Isle of Man TT from 64 to 73. The engine is a one-off, hand-built by the engineer who designed the motorcycle, 500cc twin, that has a really unique high end. It's like he was trying to explain it, and like it's a combination of 3 different kind of motors that shouldn't work basically, and they cast a block. So there's only one block, there's only one head, there's only one. Like they had to make new valves and all this stuff to get this motor working, but they did all that work. They completely restored this bike, including blow molding new plastic for like. It's like a really old school sled, so it has like this really weird almost toe cover of plastic and stuff, and they like blow molded it, whatever. So they said, hey man, get that last bit of PT done and you're gonna run this bike for us. And he was like, what? Yeah. So he got all excited again. So just so happens that I was there with Paul and Andrea already having the great day of enjoying them
the
racing.
perfect day, yeah.
The perfect day. And then he tells me, and then today is the first time I'm taking the bike out. And I was like, God, you know.
Yeah. No, you're crying.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, man, you're crying.
And so it was so neat to see this guy, and you could see how stoked he was to get on the track. And he was even going on about how when they were first bringing this bike, they weren't sure they were going to get the motor working, right? Okay. So they were going to try a couple other chassis to see if he could lay on something else. And every other chassis he tried, he couldn't hold his neck up enough to see the track. Wow. And like he couldn't get the safety inspection to go through, right? But this particular frame, without any modifications, when he laid down on it the way his body is, it holds his neck up and he can see perfectly over the front of the bike. So it was kind of like kismet and shit like that.
That's amazing.
And so I guess he did a practice and he ran, and like, you know, his goal was just to run, and he did it. I think he finished the race and everything. So I was like,
that is fantastic.
It was super cool. I really felt privileged to meet him, and he had a mechanic that worked with him. He had a team. Obviously, he had a team of guys and his old racing buddies that helped him, and just the whole thing was great. So like the whole race day was awesome, and then that story, and then seeing that to cap all that onto it was great. And then Paul got second place. He missed first because he missed, at least on Saturday. I think they got second place overall on Sunday too. And the only reason he missed is because he missed a shift on like the second to last lap.
Oh no!
But I was able to throw a 8K camera, the 360 cam on, and you can see everything, dude. When he leaves, you can see him pass these two guys, and you see the guy like dig down, like as he's passing him, the dude's like, ugh! And you can see him like barrel into the fucking sidecar trying to get it going. Cool. You can see the monkeys jumping everywhere and stuff on the cars. It's so cool, man.
That's one of those things, sidecar racing. And so I wanted to bring this picture up because in one picture, we've got 9 teams.
Yep.
We got 9 rigs out there. Sidecar racing for the past 25 years in the United States, well, at least in our region, has been a field of 3.
Right.
A field of 4. If you're lucky, a field of 6. To see as many people, because we have teams from Canada coming down for this. We get a lot, because sidecars is a family thing. These guys become family. They know each other. There's always somebody looking for a ride. Monkey over here. We got the car. We got.
He said most
steal from Rob from Peter to pay Paul.
Right. Most of the hacks have been through like 7 or 8 teams.
Yes.
Like they go to other people. Like they don't just get randomly sold. People hold on to them until somebody says, "Hey, you still got that cart?" Yeah,
that's right.
I got a new guy. He went. Yeah, here you go.
Yep. It's really, really team building. It's really, really family based.
Yeah.
And these guys all, when you talk to one sidecar person, you are now talking to a representative of a cult, a sect, a group of motorcycle enthusiasts that are doing something that is bizarre.
It's incredibly strange.
It's so cool.
And each one is completely different.
Yep.
Like there is no, it's almost like the rules are really interesting. And like, well, obviously you have more modern cars, and a lot of times they're running the modern cars with the vintage cars.
Oh yeah.
Carts and stuff like that. But like some of the modern ones, like Paul's has 8-inch wide wheels staggered in like a Formula One thing.
Yeah.
You know, with like full, like, looks like car suspension underneath it and everything.
Believe me, yeah. I mean, because there's such a diversity between like some of these, you're looking, okay, that is just a standard BSA that has a motocross style minimalist outboard wheel, right? That's what you're seeing. And when you look back through the S's, when you're in the middle of the S's and you look up at that picture, that's exactly what you're seeing. But when you get down into these purpose-built bikes, like that bike 509, that BMW Kneeler, right? So that BMW bike, or 309 rather, that is the 60s era pure sidecar gold, right? But then there's also Formula One style, like the yellow rig, right? That I believe is our buddies from Tim and Nick, or Tim and Vic from up in Ontario. So Tim Relic and Vic have got, I think that's their yellow sidecar rig. But yeah, these people they all know each other. They all hang out.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it's really interesting to watch the monkeys, how each one, it's not like, like when like Valentino Rossi started kicking his leg out like a dirt tracker, every other dude was like, we're kicking our leg out, and everybody did it, right?
Right. Absolutely.
With the sidecars, because some are English and some are American, so the carts are on the different sides.
Right.
Like you'll see a lot of different techniques. Like obviously when the cart's on the one side, some people will just hang, other people lay straight the fuck off. Like they're like a 6-foot stick sticking out from the thing.
Absolutely.
So it's like a lot of different techniques, and yet you can see which works, what doesn't. Like, I don't know. It was really fun.
And when you talk to somebody who does that, and when you see somebody's like, I'm thinking I'm going to go out and race a sidecar. Very little of traditional motorcycle carries over to this. This is a whole new animal.
Dude, I didn't know. So like I was looking at Paul's machine, and he comes off, and I think I'm healed now, but it was hot enough that when he came off the track, I burned my hand on the frame on the top.
Yeah.
And he's just laying on it. There's no like plate. There's no like fiberglass thing that's molded to your body.
No.
He's laying on top of the fucking coils for the ignition that's on the frame on top of the headers.
And the monkey is grabbing and crawling all over terribly hot, horrible things. The exhaust systems tend to go that way, right? It's not what you think. It's not the obvious thing like, oh, okay, well, we're going to sit here and we're going to put our hands here. No, these people are just making shit up.
Dude, it's horns,
fantastic.
There's horns that they have to grab, obviously, to hang on. That if that cart got airborne and landed on you, that horn would become a dildo real quickly. I mean, like, fucking quickly, man.
Yep.
Well, if you're looking to, like, because this week is the Isle of Man.
Yep.
And they race these there.
Oh, yeah.
And so if you're looking for even crazier than the Isle of Man is Sidecar Isle of Man.
Yeah.
Because it's so much wider.
That's Oscar and I, when we were there last time, we're going through the pits, and because Isle of Man's just open pits. You just walk through. And we went in and we found these, these guys, and the pits are open wide, and they're about to go out and kill themselves, or they're about to go out and nearly kill themselves. And yet they're taking a second to be like, oh, hey, and by the way, did you notice on this that we did this? And they're talking to people like me that mean nothing to anybody. But they're taking a second to be like, oh, yeah, hey, no, don't break your fucking concentration. I need you focusing on what you're doing so that I don't see something horrible happen tomorrow.
Dude, that's what, when I was filming them and they were going out, right? Like, Paul's so nice. He's like, do you want me to do something? I'm like, what I want you to do is do what you don't. I'm not even here, dude. Like, you focus on what you're supposed to be doing, man. Like,
try to make me invisible.
Yeah, I want to be at least, like, I don't even want to be a fly. I want to be just a wall that's standing next to you, dude.
Yeah,
like,
I
mean, up until, like, I'll talk to you all the time.
Sure,
but when you're going out to race, that's your room. I ain't fucking stepping in.
Yeah, it's a weird thing. And I've been fascinated with, I've always owned sidecar rigs, some kind of sidecar rig in my garage at all times. And I've always been like, oh, that'd be really great. I'd really like to try that. And then I'm like, no, you don't want to fucking try that. No.
Well, you know what's neat? I think it's neat is because now it's like, obviously there's a lot of rider technique,
Yeah.
But also the setup, like a 1 PSI in one tire, changing it can completely
sidecar
change.
racing is so cool. It's just so cool. Yeah. Yeah. Isle of Man sidecar is just insane. Because you're just like,
just the difference between riding a standard motorcycle and riding a standard sidecar rig. It's like, it's two complete different worlds.
Yeah.
Now you take that same thing where like the physics are so different and you try to go really fast with it.
Right.
It's like completely changing it again.
Right. It is. It absolutely is. And because lefts and rights are not the same experience, not even slightly. And there's a different science to it. And everything that monkey's doing is whether or not you make it around the track. Because believe it or not, you can crash this shit. And when it crashes, it's really fucking bad. Yeah, it's some full on crazy stuff. God bless him, man. It's super cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. And that does look like fun.
It looks like terrible amounts of, dude.
But it also looks like an entire whole body Charlie horse.
Dude, everybody there, they all pitched in.
I love the elbow puck.
The elbow puck is
good.
just brilliant. Yeah.
But here's the problem with going and doing this kind of shit, even fucking filming it, right? I left there with a rule book.
Yeah.
And I'm starting to look at my CB350 like, do I really want to sell it or do I want to race it? It's like, man.
Well, what was that about your knee? Something?
Yeah.
Something
Yeah, but
last time?
no. That's okay. I can't ride 250 miles on a bad knee. But 8 laps of Nelson ledges?
Yeah.
I'll fucking bite my tongue to get through that to race a bike.
I don't think
come
you
on.
can do 2 because I'm going to promise you this. I've done some spirited street riding, like putting on a little display for people with a sidecar rig. And
I'm not talking sidecar. I'm saying just CB350.
Oh, CB350. Yeah, the different animal.
I'm saying straight, just normal bike. No, I can't get.
Oh, man,
I'm not going to start a whole new skill level. Let's just stick with what I kind of know.
Riding
man.
a sidecar rig around for about 25 minutes in a spirited fashion, flying the car, sliding
I can't
and drifting.
imagine. Yeah,
It kicks your ass, man. It kicks your ass.
No, just for clarification. No, not me in a sidecar at all. Not even riding in one.
Your body is kind of not.
No.
Yeah.
No.
You got to be in shape for that shit.
Yeah.
It's super.
No, but some of the other guys on the CB350s in that class, the vintage stock class or whatever.
Oh yeah.
I'm mid pack on that stuff.
It's fun, man.
Yeah.
It's fun.
No problem.
Yeah, I don't have any problem. I think that's great. I think everybody should do that. And in fact, all those guys that did the Columbus area, all the guys that did Mid-Ohio, ARMA, and they were all just on CB350s.
Yeah.
And, it really moved CB350 technology forward, too, because if you needed to, Greg was always there, and he was a wealth of information. And you're like, hey, what are you guys doing to get reliability out of this? What's the carburetor I should be running? What is the EC? What's the electronic ignition I need to be running to make my CB350 work? Well, here's all these guys that literally go out and race CB350s. Yeah, it's a very old platform, but they're all being competitive. So what works for them? Okay, now that's what I want on my street bike.
And what's neat about this whole situation is like, compared to like when you get to the big time racers and people with sponsorships and shit, everybody's secretive and they don't want to talk shit.
Correct.
These guys, if they even can sniff that you might want to try to do it, they're like, here, take this and this and I'll see you next Saturday because they want to get you in.
There's
want more
a whole
racers.
lot of one of us.
Oh yeah.
There's a whole lot of like, what would be better if I had more people?
Yeah.
Right. Because it makes it more funner.
Yeah.
And your resources go up.
But hey, if I'm going to have a sales pitch, that's not a bad one to get.
That's a good one to have, isn't it? It's a real good one to have.
Yeah.
And because of that whole camaraderie idea too. If you look at, these groups of guys that are out running sidecar rigs, well, they're all family, they're all friends. That's their jam.
Dude, Paul was there. Andrea's mom and dad were there.
Yep.
And everything. And they were so proud.
That group of people right there is some of the best people in the world.
Oh, yeah.
too.
They're motorcycle
The Blakes are
people.
amazing.
Yeah.
Like the whole Blake family is just the coolest people to have around. Yeah.
So I asked them, I'm like, so what's it like to have your daughter on a sidecar out there hanging off the thing? And they were like, it's awesome. What are you talking about? It's like, oh, you guys are great. You guys are cool.
I mean, she recovered from a pretty bad, brain trauma.
Right.
And now, to totally change her life and now be out there monkeying hard. I mean, she's hauling ass.
Dude, she came in
super fast.
She came in off the 350, sat down in the chair. They slapped a fan on her. She barely got her leathers halfway down to cool off.
Right.
And then she had to jump on the sidecar and go out and run.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, she's gnarly, dude.
That's power, man. That's skill. That's technique. That's muscles. That is it all. That's heart. Yeah.
And it was 109,000 degrees on Saturday.
Oh,
so
man.
they're in leathers doing this at 109,000 degrees.
Oh, yep. That sounds not so great.
And it was humid. Everything was going against like the weather.
I wanted to show this picture because this picture to me kind of sums up a lot of it. The the sidecar stuff. I'm stalking all of them. Yeah, I'll admit it. I'm not even proud of it.
The cars are beautiful.
Everything's cool because everything's purpose built.
Yes.
Every single thing, every single part of it is completely built, designed for one purpose.
And I might be wrong about this, but I don't think any of those guys just went and bought their rig. You know what I mean? Like those guys all know like everything about everything.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
And like, so you got like Paul. So Paul's working on a budget, Paul's a regular guy. He's one of us, right?
Yep, absolutely.
And so like he has a purpose built. He's still dealing with the back end of a real GS 1000. But he's like, some of his competitors, they have the split sprockets, they have the single-sided swing arms so they can bust the wheels and do changes real quick. Like, you know, there are guys like that, but, you know, he's just a trooper. He's out there with what he's got, making it work, and he's still, you know, he could have had first, but he missed a shift on his fucking thing.
Well, and there's a 1948 Velocette out on the track next to a GSXR powered, you know, sidecar rig too. And that's one of those things where I'm always like, yeah, that's why it's everybody. It's just all kinds of weird shit out there, and I love it. So here's a picture of the Blakes. This is a great shot, and I love this one because there's their parents hanging out, and they do all the Moto Guzzi rallies. These guys are heroes in their own right. And then there's their daughter, and you look at the way that this is, you know, what this has turned into is pretty fucking amazing, man. You know, it really is.
And when you look at his bike, that's Paul's genius. Like, if you look, that's like an R1 double bubbles thing put on there for his scoop and everything else.
It is pure fabrication, man. That is pure fabrication. And if you don't think that's cool, it's pretty damn cool.
Like, and a lot of that bike is literally plate steel and angle iron.
Yeah.
Like, welded together with some shock points and shit like that. But it's all riding on 8-inch slicks and...
Yeah.
You know,
it's a proper sidecar, man.
And the thing that's really neat is they get to the level where he was really stoked about the new Hoosier
the tires
cartwheel.
Yeah,
because the new Hoosier cartwheel are on the end there. It had a stiffer sidewall, so he can run lower pressure in it, so it gets better stick, but it also doesn't rub off the rim as much.
There you go.
So he was,
it's cool.
But it's neat to hear how
it's great to talk to these guys because they are complete recruiters.
Oh, right? Yeah.
So when you talk to them for any amount of time whatsoever, they're going to be like, you know what you got to do? I know a guy in Nova Scotia who's got a rig, and it hadn't been on the track for a long time, but you know, all it needs is a motor, and some suspension, and a couple of wheels, and you'll be out. Yeah, you can have that thing on the track by next week, I'm sure. Yeah, and they're just total recruiters. It's great. It's fantastic. I mean,
they definitely feel like heirlooms that you're going to pass down to your kids, or like, you know, uncle to cousin.
Look, again, 1948 Velocette. You know, this is.
Look at the knobs. See, I wasn't lying. You see the thing sticking off.
Absolutely. Well, no, there's handles. There's door handles. There's like gate handles.
Right. Well, that's understandable.
Bolted and welded into this thing.
That is a metal object that can pierce a lot of parts of your butt.
No, that's a sex toy.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, that's it. You land on that thing the wrong way.
Bad day.
Bad day.
Or good.
Doc. Right? Yeah. I love that stuff. I mean, I think that, you know, it's really great. Yeah. Yeah. So that's great. So super fun, super cool. Yeah. They're definitely, that's having a good time. That's just, if you don't think that'd be fun, you haven't hung out at Mid-Ohio enough. Like that's the kind of thing you're like, yeah, I want to go out. You watch that for half an hour. You're like, well, I think I ought to give it a go.
A lot of our listeners are probably going to go to Mid-Ohio.
Yeah.
So Paul, Andrew, and all these guys will be racing. So I'll definitely be down there this year checking it out.
Absolutely.
Do these guys have comms between the monkey and the driver?
No.
Yeah. I'm sure they could, but yeah.
Well, I mean, the guys that I know didn't. Dude, it got sad at one race. They were close and they were coming by, and the monkey got her head hit like really hard, and I think she passed out in the thing, and you saw the driver going like grabbing her and shaking her like this and like trying to get her up. And then she finally like sat up and they kept going again, but I was like, holy shit, like she passed out on the chair. Like that was crazy, man.
Because these guys would have to be like, so, I mean, that one picture there where the guy in the red's hanging out. I mean, they got to be so in tune with what the other guy's doing, because if they're not leaning at the right time when the guy's cutting in on a corner or whatever, it's not going to go well. Right. So there's a trust between these guys, which comes, I'm sure, with experience, but they have to either directly communicate or somehow communicate without words, you know, just through body motion or whatever. But, you know, it's different than riding a bike by yourself, because there's two guys that got to work together to make the physics work of it.
And there are a lot of husband and wife teams. There's a lot of, you know, this is a part of the motorsport thing, that it is strange that there's a lot of married couples that are doing this.
And there's a lot of what I heard is there's a lot of women who are like for hire.
Yeah,
like seriously, like these ladies are professional monkeys. They'll go and they'll monkey any team, and they're good enough that the guys are ready, or whoever the driver is.
And how cool is that?
They're 100% in.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I guess like one famous one, she passed away in Florida.
Silky passed.
Yeah. So
That's a whole other story.
Yeah.
That's a whole other story. That's a book right there. It is.
But what are the rules? Because like when you look at this, every single bike is a fucking shit show from the next one. Like,
how this all started, it was a stupid history lesson, but back when there were formula classes of sidecars in Europe, and that was a thing, and there were, a whole group of 750s, a whole group of 500s, a whole group of 250s, and there were real legitimate classes. Well, that all went away. Right, so those classes still exist at Isle of Man. Those MotoGP, those classes still exist in British racing, but over here we get what we get. We got scraps, and because we're not out there doing what they're doing on a daily professional modern level. So with ARMA, American Historical Racing Motorcycle Association, historical is the main part of it. So yeah, it is. Each thing out there on the track is a rolling piece of history. So that's why it's out there. And that's why they are putting, hey, it's no fun to, well, my motorcycle is the only 1948 Velocette out here, so I'm going to run alone.
right.
Well, and,
No, I'm going to run with everybody else.
As crazy as this is, they do an off-road version of this.
Absolutely.
Which is even crazier.
Bonkers. When you see those dudes like 6 feet in the air, and things just flying.
Air on a sidecar rig.
Yeah.
You got to be kidding me. Yep. You got to be kidding. But the more time you spend looking at this stuff, there's the bikes. There they are right there. Yep. And old X48. These guys are they are having a time. They're just having a goddamn hell of a time. It's so much fun for them. I really do love it. I'm very happy that they get to do this. It's cool. It's real cool.
It was fun to see, man. It was really like I knew the day was going to be cool.
Right.
But it was like transformative. I had a fucking wonderful day.
You didn't think it was going to be that much cool, did you?
It was. Well, I guess I didn't realize how many classes were going to run, how many bikes were going to be there. Like the whole event was just.
No, the ARMA is a big event. There's shit tons of racing going on there.
It was awesome.
Yep. And it's good to see that in Nelson's Ledges, too, because that's local for us. That's great.
If you see an ARMA event near you, I can't recommend going out. Every dude will talk to you. You'll see bikes that you can't even believe they're racing. And you're like, how many of the parts did you have to make this motor work? Well, 90% of them. Right. And you're like, wow. Okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's very, very cool. It's great. It's neat. So, yeah, when in my next lifetime, when I have a little more time, then we'll work on this one. This will be the next side project. Yeah, it's cool. I love that stuff. And it's good to see it. It's good to see it getting traction, huh? No pun intended, but it is many years I would go out and I'd be so excited to be at AMA Vintage Days 15 years ago and be like, yeah, man, I don't care what happens. I got to see the sidecars. I don't care what happens. I got to see the sidecars. And I'll go down to the pits and I'll see my buddy that I know does sidecars. Hey, oh man, is there going to be? I'm going to be out there. Oh, it's just two guys. Okay. Well, the good news is they're both going to get podium.
Yeah.
The bad news is for the spectators, it's not exactly an even-handed mess. One of them is a literally upright bone stock BMW with a, bone stock BMW sidecar rig on it. And then the other one is a fucking Kneeler with a GSXR 1000 motor in it. So it's not going to be heated competition out there. It's going to be one guy looks like he's going to get groceries and the other guy's going to be a blur.
Yeah. In kind of some ways. But it's neat. Like I've been doing these adventures. I'm trying to make myself do something like every weekend or whatever. Mm-hmm. And you go out to all these places and there's all these people doing stuff and people are smiling and happy and there's no politics. Like, I mean, I'm sure it's whatever, but I'm saying like people do things and it's so fun to get out and be in a mix. Like if you just sit home, like you do yard work or something like that and you watch the news, you're like, the world's ending. Everything's terrible. But when you get out and you do shit, you realize it's just the fucking news.
It's just the news. Turn off the news.
People are doing shit, man. Yeah. Like it was a great day out there. There's thousands of people there having a great time.
That guy's having fun.
He loves life.
He's wearing a skirt. He's having fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's having a good time. Yeah. That's the kind of stuff I like to see.
That bike's insane.
He also got a Soul Power scooter sticker on the back of his rig too, and that's pretty cool too. Yeah. That's all right. He's got an Amsol sticker too, though. That's a little dangerous.
He does look like a satin jacket.
You might have a hard time getting away from that guy. Yeah, but it's cool. I just think it's fucking awesome.
Does it say the same oil for 1,000,000 miles on it? I've been racing the same Amsoil since 1970.
I love it. I just want more of it. Like that's the bike you were talking about with the custom motor.
No,
that's not.
No. The other one was way more British.
Oh, okay.
If you went to my thing, it's on there.
Yeah, I can't wait till you get your video together because that's great. Your last videos have been fantastic, and I'm very excited about seeing this one coming
This
out.
one's going to be neat.
Cool. Yeah.
I still have a bunch from our trip. I have so much editing. I almost want to outsource editing. Too much.
They do that.
I know.
They do that. Some kid in Korea can be editing for you right now.
I know.
Yeah.
But he doesn't get my jokes.
He doesn't get your jokes, not even a little bit.
Wait, there we go.
There it is.
That's the dude.
Yeah, that's their deal right there.
That's Larry. There he is.
That's Larry. Yep. Yeah, that dude right there, man. Yep. Pretty cool. Yeah, that's good stuff, isn't it? Yeah, a lot of history, cool stuff. Yeah,
that's when they're bringing it. He was telling us about this. So like there was many races where he'd go and they were fitting it
Larry
to
in
him.
full attack mode.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. And that was my first experience. I think might have been a Tom Petty video. And I'm watching a Tom Petty video, and some little freaky capsule car pulls up, and the dude shows up on
Refugee.
a kneeler. Dude shows up on a kneeler sidecar out of nowhere. It's a Mad Max tribute video. And I was just like,
yeah. Oh. And the hover car.
yeah,
that was the best part of it.
Yeah, I'm
man.
telling you, I saw that video, and I was like, yeah, that's the coolest thing
I
in the
just
world.
want to know how they can. Although, granted, that video gave Tom Petty a name of every household because that video was like so iconic.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But how do you convince? Hey, you're like a kind of a weird, interesting singer-songwriter kind of thing. Let's make you this futuristic fucking.
Let's
weird.
make you Road Warrior.
Yeah,
right.
I want to know how that conversation and the convincing.
No, because I swear to God, I think that movie was the sizzle reel for Beyond Thunderdome. I think they were like,
right.
okay, Mad Max, great, cool. And then Tom Petty shot a video, and they were like, Tina Turner's free. So what's the movie going to be? It's going to be the Tom Petty video, but with Tina Turner.
Yeah, and longer.
It's a great idea. So how long is this going to be? Oh, like 2 hours.
Yeah.
It's going to be a 2-hour music video. And the guy with saxophone's going to be there too.
Oh, you're right.
In the wasteland.
Yeah.
It's going to be awesome. Yeah.
And it's still going because that franchise, they just came out with a new movie this year.
I did. Yeah. So yeah.
It's supposed to be good too.
Oh,
yeah.
I'm going to.
I'm going to see about 2 minutes of it on the way home because I have to drive by the Autorama. Every night when I leave, I go down the main road. I go by the drive-in.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, look at that.
Oh, that's funny. Oh, that's great. I didn't even think about that, but it's totally true.
It's like a half mile from my house.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh man, that's a riot. That's fun. Yeah, I will see that because I got to see it. I'm just a fan.
Here's a fun story.
Yeah.
The Autorama drive-in right there.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, we used to get on our mini bikes and ride the access road beside the railroad tracks, all the way from where we lived out to where the theater was, which was probably 10 miles.
Yeah.
So on like a Friday night, and then we would sit over by the railroad tracks and watch the movie.
Right.
Because we didn't have the money to go into the movie, and we couldn't hear it because in those days you had to have the
car
speaker that you couldn't get on your radio or anything. So we would just drive out there and we'd watch the movie, and sometimes you'd see a boob or something. We'd be like, yes, and then we'd ride home. We'd watch the movie for half hour or whatever, whatever part of it we caught, and then we'd just ride our bikes all the way home in the dark.
My favorite thing about the Autorama drive-in is one, that it still survives. 2, the popcorn is amazing, and the snack bar is not bad. But it's the only drive-in movie theater, I think, in the world that has railroad tracks running through it. Yeah. So at any point in the movie, you could be watching a movie, and all of a sudden, train comes through.
There's railroad tracks on one side of it, and the turnpike on the other side.
On the other side.
Yeah, it's really not in a great location.
They have managed to find the absolute worst location for viewing a movie.
When we were doing the podcast last week, that was B's last day of school.
All right.
And so Amy took my truck, or our truck, and B to that drive-in theater and parked it backwards. And they took blankets and pillows and they did the whole thing. We never had that before.
Oh, you didn't?
I never had a truck before.
Oh, that's what you do.
Yeah.
That's how you do it.
So they were like, so now they're like, because I was like, I'm probably going to bedline the bottom of the truck, like the bottom, 1/3 of the truck or whatever, because it's already starting to rust again because it's a Dodge.
Because it's a Dodge.
So I'm just gonna hose it down with rust kill and then just fucking bedliner the whole side of it. But now she's all supportive. She's like, do whatever you got to do because the truck rules.
Oh really? Oh, game on. You have become a truck family.
Yeah.
If you're going to have that many animals, you need to have a Dodge.
Yeah.
pickup
Well,
truck.
there's always some kind of feed in the back of it or something.
Yeah, this was fun. I went to this event a couple of years ago. They did Lowbrow Customs featured a ride-in movie of Easy Rider and the World's Fastest Indian.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
It was really great, and it was funny seeing a drive-in movie when everybody was on motorcycles.
Yeah.
And plenty of street rods showed up and cool stuff too. But it was really, it was a little strange element to be like on your motorcycle at a drive-in. And you're like, sitting on the bike.
That's a great idea. Are they going to do that again?
They should do it again.
At that point, I want a bagger.
Yes, at that point, definitely. Just to
My
sneak your
250 is not 4 hours comfortable.
No, sneak your
you want a bagger on bag, so when you get there, it just goes.
Well,
and then you're just
I was going to say the most important thing would be to just be able to strap all your inflatable furniture to your bike.
Yeah.
So you could just strap it all to your bike, and when you get there, just inflate everything.
All the Goldwings just pull their lawn trailers with all the stuff behind them.
Yeah.
Here's another pro tip for you. I did this one time at drive-in movie theater out. I don't remember if it was on the Mississippi River. I don't remember if it was on the Illinois side or the Missouri side or Iowa side. But I was on a motorcycle trip. I saw this drive-in theater, and it didn't have a gravel lot. It was like a grass lot.
Okay.
And I went up to the thing, and I said, hey, if I stay and watch the movie tonight, can I sleep here? And they said, if you want, I don't care. You know, so I went in there to the drive-in theater. I put up my tent, and I made camp there. I watched the movie, and then when the movie was over, all the cars leave. I had the whole place to myself, and I slept there. The next morning, I got up.
So you set up your tent in the little playground area in the front by the screen?
No, the whole thing, the whole lot was like a grass field. It was
my God!
It was on these bluffs above the Mississippi River. I think it was on the Iowa side.
That's
of the
kind of amazing.
And then, like I said, after like 12 o'clock at night, all the cars leave.
Yeah.
And I was the only one in the whole place. And then the next morning when the sun came up,
Did you go around and collect all the condoms?
No.
Did they lock you in though? Were you like locked in the lot?
But on the bike you can go around the thing. You know, there's plenty of times where you can't get a car through, but you can always squeeze a bike through. You know.
You have been a fountain of secret motorcycle camping tips today.
Yeah, this is good.
There's someplace up in New England. I forget which state it's in. It has a drive-in theater that has a motel attached to it. So you go in the room and you park in front of it.
Right.
And then the back side of the room faces the screen. And so you can watch the movie and then you just like from the porch of your room. You know?
I'm sure you just watch the movie and then whatever happens.
Yeah, exactly right.
Right. Yeah.
But that's kind of cool.
I like that.
So it's kind of the same concept. It's like you're there.
It's fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because who doesn't love them? I mean, drive-in theaters, like where I grew up in, Elyria out there was like 5 movie theaters there when I was a kid, and this is the only one that's left.
That survived. Yeah.
Yeah.
In our area, that's pretty much it. The Mayfield, we used to go to when they were really scavenging to get people to come out to the drive-in. They would do all-night movie marathons. So from sundown until sunup, and they would have like half a dozen movies they'd play. And whether you got to all the movies or not, but it was always like a science fiction movie marathon or, outlaw car movie marathon or whatever. And it'd always be like, and so we would just go out there because like, where are you going? Well, we're going to the all-night movie marathon. It's going to be great. And you're like, yeah, it is, right? And parents would be okay with it because they'd be like, oh, you're going to do some cool thing, and that's just fun, and that's all great. And we're like, yeah, we don't have to get a hotel room.
No, we're making more babies.
We're taking the shaggin' wagon.
Yes, believe me, 68 Lincoln, suicide doors.
And dude, when you're that age and you got from fucking 8 p.m. to 6 a.m., that you can make 7-8 babies in that.
It was pretty rude. Yeah, there was a lot of cops tapping on a lot of windows. Yeah, that was a nonstop event out there. And you're like, oh man, this is gonna be great. And I had the Lincoln, so I'd be like, okay, we're gonna put 4 people in the trunk. No problem.
I wonder if this exists, but what a great opportunity to be a peeping Tom cop. You just walk by and be like, keep going.
You say or not?
No, I'm just saying,
great opportunity
what are you doing in there? Keep going.
How long do you think they wait before they tap?
Not very long, huh? Oh, no, the cops? You say?
Yeah, I want to let you in on a little secret. Yeah. I want to let you in on a little secret. I've tapped on my share of windows. Yeah. I'm going to tell you, Nobody says when I have to tap.
You were just procuring evidence.
I was just confirming visually what I'm about to write them a ticket for. Right. I wanted to make sure I was a qualified witness.
Exactly.
Right. Yeah.
Details.
I needed to make sure.
Down to the smallest hair.
I just need to make sure they're not just wrestling.
Right.
Right. Yeah. Come on, man. Are you kidding me?
You finished before they did.
Some peeping Tom cop. Yeah, okay. Right, exactly.
That's what the tapping was.
There's another cop standing watching you.
That's what the tapping is.
He's waiting.
Tapping. He's like, oh.
He's waiting.
Okay.
We lost our one cop listener.
The body cam footage will be available later.
Exactly. Hey, why is the body cam footage all shaky?
Sir, the evidence was tampered with. Why? Halfway through it, the screen got all cloudy. We couldn't really see.
The city cop was trying to make an arrest, and he got busted by the sheriff's department. And then there was somebody from the state patrol behind him. And it turns out they had this whole circular thing going on. It's kind of a jerk in a circular motion. Yeah. Yeah, and the poor kids in the
anybody under
75 Cutlass had no idea.
Anybody under the $10 level on Patreon has heard nothing but beeps for the past 5 minutes.
Oh, I do. We do have some new Patrons, by the way. Some good stuff. Absolutely.
The hate mail cometh.
We might. Yeah, I definitely got to do that for us. I promise you. Renee's going to take a day and just stuff boxes. That's what she's up to. There are a lot of people right now that are owed Renee's magically stuffed Patreon boxes, and so she's working on it. I know a few of them went out today, and I know she's working on some more probably over this weekend. So there's a lot going on.
A lot of box stuffing.
A lot of box stuffing. A whole lot of box stuffing, but. We got some new Patreons. And so and I thought that was great because it's like every time somebody signs up as a Patreon, I'm like, well, do they really fucking know what they're in for? Like, did they listen? Did they sample it at all? Because they're free, right? You don't have to give any money. But then when somebody does straight up want to participate or in this and whatever, and keep in mind, once you get the phone number, once you're at that level, yeah, if you call in, if you text in or something, we're going to read your stuff on them. And honestly, we got a lot of people that are coming up on their legend status. They're allowed to visit. They're allowed to come in. They're allowed to come in here or call in or whatever. And we got some people that are chomping at the bit, just ready.
Bring it.
Just ready. So, I wanted to make sure that's the kind of thing we need to do once it's a little colder out, because all your favorite podcasts are putting some from the vaults up there because we're all doing stuff, right? We're a little busier than we were before. That's a legitimate thing. Are you ready? Hey guys, thank you for putting on this podcast. This is from Owen Stahl.
You're welcome, Owen.
Stahl. None of my friends ride, despite my best efforts.
I'm sorry, Owen.
Yep. So it's pretty cool to have something like this to listen to, especially with such an awesome cast. Hey, all right. I have a question. You have previously mentioned a motorcycle buy, sell, trade website created by a fan of the show. What's the name of that website? I can't seem to find it anywhere. And yes, Sleepy, go ahead and give him a read.
Buy and sell motorcycles for free. Parts 2. And you can go to it at www.twowheelsanddeals.com. That is TWO wheels, WHEELS, and AND deals, DEALS.com.
Spelled out the long way. Twowheelsanddeals.com. That's what you do, Owen. That's how you check it out. And nobody say that we don't give instant gratification to our Patreon members who send us questions. We read that shit on there.
Knowing that to you.
Or free sponsorship for our buddies here.
And again, that's because they're fucking awesome. So we should give them a shout out because, sponsorship is stupid.
Right.
This is better.
Supporting friends.
And we're not talking about ball trimmers anymore, which is nice. So it's nice to not have to talk about,
well, if we need to, that's
shaving each other's undercarriages.
That thing does not work as properly as it used to.
Well,
and
it suffered the ravages of time?
Oh yeah, it shaves some and pulls some.
Oh boy, that does not sound good.
No.
Okay. So that anyway. Thank you from Owen. He did.
Is it a long-term test?
Yeah.
Well, and because of Tom, Owen says he's edited. So he took his membership from $5 to $10.
Oh.
Because he's tired of not getting the jokes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, it's worth it.
Yeah, I think he's going to enjoy this one. Now.
Tell your friends.
I really think he is.
Yeah, they get funnier.
They do. And so, but the other one is Michael Murphy, who edited his, because he was at the $1 identifies as a listener stage. Like, okay, if you hold my feet to the fire, I'll admit I listen to the shit. He went from $1 to $5. So that's pretty impressive. He is now 5 times more dedicated than he was a month ago.
That's true.
That's pretty cool. So Michael Murphy, thank you very much. That is badass. See, he's kind of like moved into that whole like, they're pretty, they're all right. I can listen to them. They're not too bad.
You know, I was thinking this could get kind of morbid, but I was thinking we should have levels of patriotism where if you want to bet on our ability to not die, you could say all right, I'm in at $2,000 a month, but when Steve dies, I get all his bikes.
It's a Deadpool. It is absolutely a death pool.
Yeah.
That's all that is. Which is, but it's not the worst thing we've done.
No.
Absolutely not.
And somebody would get pretty fucking happy.
Yeah, somebody's going to be real. The Great Barlowski.
Yes.
And I did say that right. The Great Barlowski.
I love it.
Matt Barlow. He is in at a $5 member.
Fuck yeah.
So that is fucking fantastic. So I like it when people do that because I'd much rather have people do Patreon than for us to talk about like reading copy about some weird stuff.
Well,
yeah.
And think about this. That guy chose us over a $5 handy.
Well,
He sets the bar very low.
Once a month. I mean, $5. That's a quarter of a Viagra. That's like decisions were made, Sleepy. Decisions were made. Yeah. Think about the whole
It's either us or an e-girl, man. Let's go.
It could be. It could absolutely be. And Michael Stewart.
Yeah, Stewart.
Michael Stewart has also became a $5 member. And so these are just our Mays. These are our May guys. I wanted to make sure to give them a readout and make sure that they're getting their love because we do appreciate the absolute hell out of this. It's really cool. The $5 member apparently is our sweet spot. Not 10, not 20. 5.
They don't want to hear our jokes.
5. 5 is the sweet spot. Marshall Thompson is in at a $5. He's in at what they call a fin, right?
Yeah.
So he's at a fin, and he's in there, and he did get under the wire. He's in early May. He's in there, so we want to make sure to give him his shout out because that's badass.
I mean, I can't argue with him. I'd probably be in at about $5.
Am I still in at 5 or 10? I can never remember.
You should be at 15.
I started Patreon a while ago, and because that was when
Actually,
you all
can we
sent me the
back charge him? Because you're supposed to get one on for every fucking legend, so he needs about fucking $230 a month right now.
Right now. And I didn't know. I'm not sure if I read this, but I do want to make sure that I read this because this is cool. Ryan Hegdahl, one of our Patreons for a long time. Fucking legend. Absolutely. I want to make sure I read this out. I'm not sure if I covered it last week. Well, gentlemen, I'm sad to say that I must stop my Patreon subscription.
Oh.
But only for a while, as apparently I am to be a father yet again.
Hey.
Well done. 3 kids later, and I still have not figured out how this keeps happening. Yeah. Anyways, as I get all my finances back in order, I will be back, and I will be back at the fucking legend spot. Unfortunately, the financial hit right now, with me being my only form of family income, has got me a little short in the wallet. I hope to still keep you guys up to date on the CB750 project, the BSA Lightning, and the MT125 projects as me and my children are working on them. Thank you for all you guys do, and I will, of course, try my best not to miss a podcast. So I want to make sure to give a shout out for that, too, because we're losing a listener, we're losing a Patreon supporter, but for the right fucking reasons. Yeah, don't ever let this be a pain in your ass. Don't ever let this be a bad thing.
That's okay.
Ryan,
Priorities. Your kid is more of a priority than your favorite podcast with a bunch of fucking half drunk.
Okay, if you're going to say 2 hours a week, if you could not here's what I promise. If you're going to say, Phil, I'm not going to listen to your dumb shit for 2 hours a week, but instead I'm going to spend some quality time with my kids. As a kid who grew up being neglected for a father that was out in the garage working on cars and shit like that, you know what? Good on you. More power to you, man.
Ryan, I want to send you $5.
That's right. I'll buy you a beer. That's right. I got a feeling you're going to have a lot more sleepless nights.
I don't know, box of Trojans, maybe.
But if you think that the disease of more is going to be upon you,
right.
I can introduce you to my friend Mike, who has 12 children, and he will tell you the fun and excitement of having that many Underkin.
Yes.
Running around.
Yeah, Mike is a pretty strong example of Jesus Christ, man, it's a vagina, not a clown car.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of it wasn't his fault, so.
Is that what he said?
Sleepy, you know how kids work? Do we have to have the birds and the bees conversation?
It wasn't his fault. I just woke up and she was on me.
Oh, man. Hey, I ain't saying nothing. You were saying so.
And then, Michael, we got to read this. I wish Mackle Fresh was here because this is a Mackle Fresh thing. I love the podcast. Thank you very much. There was an offhanded mention of avoiding tires with diagonal tread. And I have a 2019 Triumph Scrambler 1200XC. That's one of those, right? I got one of those. And I bought it a few months ago. I got 1,000 miles on it. It has stock Metzler Tourance tires, which the Tourance is kind of a diagonal tread.
I actually like those tires.
And I do too.
On those, yeah.
Right. He says it seems to grab every groove in the road.
He's not going fast enough.
Curious as to what your specific concern with that pattern is. You're right, and the Tourance is a great tire.
Yeah.
So I've never had a problem with the Tourance tire. I think it's a really good tire. It is a diagonal tread, but I think what John was talking about in particular was a tire that doesn't, a front tire in particular, that doesn't have a vertical, like one linear baseline stripe down the middle, and instead has diagonals running across.
Well, yeah,
I think
you know
that's
why?
What he's talking about.
You know why? It happened to my Africa twin.
Yeah.
So I had almost a year or whatever ago, like probably 3,000 miles ago, I had you put on those Shinko 705s, which have the diagonal fronts on it, right? But then I rode almost zero off-road for the last 2 years, maybe a little bit with Pete and stuff, with David, nothing. Just a couple of roads. Well, on my trip, when I did the Blue Ridge Mountains, I went all the way down. So I did almost 1,000 miles down because I took the long way. Then we did, however many 300-400 miles of hard twisties.
Yep.
And then I did 600, 700 miles home. My whole front tire is just scalloped like a motherfucker.
It's scalloped, yeah, it's cupped.
It's completely fucked. Yeah. And so, like, what happens is now when you're rolling, it feels like shit.
Right.
And so I think what he was saying is like, when you get those diagonal cuts, I don't think it's so much the Tour Race. I just looked at the tread on the Tour Race. That's more of a street cut. Yeah. But as soon as you get to like a 50-50 or something where it's like it's not just made for the road, so you're going to have a little extra flex from those things. Yeah. They just fucking scallop the shit out of it if you're on the road a lot.
Yep. And that overlapping chevrons is the way the Tourance looks. So when you look at the Tourance tire, it is definitely overlapping. And
I put a lot of miles on those. And I never had an issue with them.
No, never ever.
Good in the wet, good in the dry.
Yeah, absolutely. And they do hold up.
Yeah,
and that's a nice thing.
Durable.
They're a good tire. They hold up, and they're also they're not for nothing. They're affordable. So
they are, but they weren't like bottom basement.
No, not at all.
It was a decent price and definitely a great value.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's definitely one of those things. That particular tire, and so I guess that's that thing where I've found that when I've got a front tire on the bike and the front tire has just that one vertical stripe down the middle, sometimes that tire can hunt.
You get Tic Tac stuck in them?
Yeah. So sometimes a tire like that can hunt, and whereas these types of tires that do have that sort of a overlapping chevron tread, they don't hunt. They're not trying to find a line where there isn't one.
You know what the worst bike I've ever... Yeah. The fucking BV500, man. When that bike got onto fucking grooved cement, I thought the end of the world was
terrible.
coming. It was
Absolutely
all over the place.
Yeah, and I think those were Pirelli Unicos that were on there.
Oof.
Yeah, and they were pretty. Those were pretty tragic.
Yeah.
The OEM tires there. Those were pretty tragic. It is a funny thing, but yeah, that's exactly what we're talking about. And the Tourance is. I don't think I've ever had anybody complain about a Tourance. It's been around for a while. It's an old tire. It's been around, but everyone seems to like them.
It's also pretty quiet too.
Yeah, I didn't
Have
notice.
any road noise really. Something.
Yeah, it's a weird thing. Like I've had this tire on probably 2 BMWs I've owned.
Yeah.
And it just seems that Metzlers seem to find their way onto BMWs.
Well, European.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. And I've also all the ME 880s and all that stuff too on vintage bikes. They tend to do really well. Those tires seem to be the answer. And even when I've had some sporty small bikes like the GB 500 and CB 350s and stuff like that, the Metzler ME 80s are like, damn, this bike feels good. You know, it's hard to believe there's an inner tube running around in there. And they feel nice, you know, because normally inner tube tires and bias ply stuff doesn't feel great when you're pushing it around too hard. And those ME 880s always feel nice. Metzler does a good job with that classic tire that's been around for about 1,000 years. Yeah, at least. So that's cool. Well, that's it. That's been a podcast. If anybody has anything else to add, we'd like to hear it.
No.
Yeah. Next week's episode, like I said, hopefully everything goes well. I'm going to have a special motorcycle for you guys to ride.
Cool.
And if this motorcycle shows up, it's going to be a crazy podcast. Man, we are going to piss off some people.
That's it. I'm canceling my flight.
There you go.
Yeah, we're going to piss off some people. We're going to make haters out of all of us. And Sleepy's not going to be too happy about it either.
Are you bringing a live wire?
Wait, I'm not going to be happy about it.
No, man. We'll get to it next week. Yeah, Sleepy might not be happy about it. So we'll figure it out. Anybody else got anything else? All right.
Thinking. Now you got me wondering.
Oh, that's a mystery, isn't it?
Fuck, cliffhanger.
It's a cliffhanger time. Turn in next week to episode 468 of the ClevelandMoto Podcast, where we will reveal the motorcycle that is probably going to piss off Sleepy. Yep. All right, if that's it.
The week of this. I'm going to sit around for a week
How do you keep an idiot in suspense? I'll tell you in a week.
Yeah.
All right. Ride fast and take chances. Play us out here, Johnny. Dun, 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 eject.